is up?
Welcome back.
Yeah.
A lot to talk about. I thought we were going to lose you again. It was a rough weekend for you.
Wasn't the finest.
No.
I had the bum gravy.
Yeah, it's no good. Yeah, the trots, man. It gets us.
Yeah. The bum gravy on Wednesday.
Right on Thanksgiving, though.
Well, but you know what, though?
You
I gotta
rallied,
tell
didn't
you. Thursday was fine.
Yeah.
So I had to miss last Wednesday's show. I was very disappointed because that was a big show.
Yeah. You did get called out, by the way.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. By your man crush, Dan Lanning. He was none too happy with your shenanigans.
Oh.
Well, Lanning asked me, he's like, hey, yeah, where's your partner? And I said, I told him, I said,
Do you think he knows my name? I don't think he knows.
I think he's aware of us. Name? Ooh, I don't know.
He doesn't know which is which.
Probably not. No.
I'm going to start telling him I'm Suk.
So when I told him, I said he's not feeling well, and I said when I was coming in today, he was walking out. I said he couldn't do it. He said he had to pull the chute. And so I asked Lanning, I said, have you ever had to coach when you're really sick? And he looked right at me, and he goes, or he looked right at me. He got real serious.
He looked at you. He was here.
No, he got
through the phone.
He got real serious and said, I don't get sick. And I was like, ever? And he goes, yeah, being sick's a choice. He goes, yeah. So he goes, sounds like your partner needs to make a better choice. And we delve into this, and I was like, is this a real thing? He's like, oh yeah. He goes, my wife hates it when I claim that. So when his wife or his kids get sick, Lanning does hey, being sick is a choice.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, he's unhappy with your choice. And I asked him maybe if he could give you next time a little pregame. And he's into it. I think he is good because I told him your immune system is not the best. Your immune system's like 5 and 7. And quite frankly, that's not cutting it for Dan Lanning.
Hey, I'm down. Yeah. Look, nobody jumped on the Dan Lanning bandwagon earlier than me.
No,
okay?
you're all aboard.
That is my guy. So if he wants to do something about my feeble immune system, I am all for it. I will listen to that. I tell you what,
being
man.
Sick is a choice.
By the way, that is so on brand for him. God. But, I'll let it slide.
Yeah.
There are people that believe that.
Yeah. Dan Lanning being one of them.
Sometimes they need about 36.7% less tea. Not everything equates to toughness, but, that low-level masculinity coming out again.
Yeah.
I get it. That's football. It's the football world.
It's football, man.
That's how it is.
It's the Pac-12.
But when I had the sour apple quick step on Wednesday, so what he's saying is I should have just decided not to.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what he's saying.
Is that how you felt when you were on the bathroom floor puking your guts out a couple weeks ago? Wasn't that? Didn't you have?
Yeah, I want to say it was like 2 months ago.
You had like the norovirus or something?
Yeah, I slept on the bathroom floor.
Did you think about, you know what, maybe I should just choose not to?
No, I will tell you that while you are curled up in the fetal position in front of the Roman god of porcelain, you aren't really making a choice. And by the way, can I just say, if you are going to throw up, like an Italian soup is Italian anything, it's awful. We had like homemade zuppa toscana and like garlic bread.
Well, if you're puking or if you're nauseous, anything that has a pungent odor, it doesn't even matter if it smells good normally. Yeah. If it's like you want no smells.
No, it's ruined me. I can't have it. I can't have Italian food.
Yeah.
Like I'll be like driving by an Italian place and the smell hits me and I'm like, dude, you get the F away from me.
And
brutal.
Credit to Suk for asking Coach Lanning, what have you ever coached a game? What would you do if you're not feeling great? But it wasn't far enough, Suk. You did not ask him how would you coach during mud butt? How would you have to contend with dealing with mud butt on the side?
I think Lanning just wills it away. I do. I think he would like get a piece of leather and he would just like bite down on it and it would stop. I really think that I think he can will himself to have it not be a thing. Now, Joe Paterno can't because that happened to Joe Pa and he had to change his pants.
If Dan first of all, you got to remember, Dan Lanning's 37.
Yeah.
He's probably not dealt with the Rangoon runs like we have in our 40s and almost nearing the 50s.
Getting old is not for the faint of heart.
He doesn't know what's in for him right now. He's he's in good health and also the thing about coaches, I would imagine with coaches, you kind of have to have that attitude because they can't really call in sick. Like, no. I mean, you have to.
Lincoln Riley missed a couple days earlier this year.
Yeah, he did.
And guess what happened to USC? 7-5. Yeah. You know what? Lincoln Riley made a choice, and what did it lead to? 7-5. Rob, You want to be at the Sun Bowl? Huh? You want to be? Is that where this show's going?
Is that in El Paso?
Yeah, it's in El Paso.
No, I'll make that choice as well. I will not be at the Sun Bowl.
Thank you.
But yeah, he should have made a better choice.
Yeah.
I don't know, but coaches, they kind of have to, you know how it is. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not sick.
No.
Anyway, I was sick.
Yeah.
And then here's the good news. The good news is I woke up Thursday and I was fine.
Yeah.
For Thanksgiving. So I was able to partake and enjoy Thanksgiving. And then Friday I went down again, but not with the bum gravy, just got sick.
Well, they do say it is a proven fact, like the Jordan flu game, right? Your body, they say, like, when competition, it's a fight or flight thing.
So when I saw that turkey the stuffing on the table, I nutted up. So maybe it is a choice.
Well, they do say it is a scientifically proven fact that when athletes compete,
and I am an athlete.
Yes, there is, like, you see all the time that athletes play through injury, right? And then like an hour after the game, they can't move. Or you see where a guy's really sick, he can't get out of bed, and he goes out and has this amazing game. And they say that your body has the ability in fight or flight situations to shut everything off and be like, hey, we have to get through this. And competition or anything that gets your heart rate up like that, your body doesn't know the difference between competing in a game of basketball or football. And it's the same thing that we had 100,000 years ago when a bear was chasing you. It's fight or flight.
Right.
And so you can suppress that. And I wonder if Thanksgiving hit and you're like, hey, it's time to compete.
Time to man up.
Yeah, and your body was like, not today. And then
some Cabernet I got to drink.
Exactly. And then as soon as it was over, your body was like, well, we survived, and here we are.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I am definitely high-level athlete, but I guess it remains to be seen.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
you're
unproven.
You're back. You made a choice to be here today, and we appreciate it.
Yeah, well, it's
because
a big day.
There's a lot to get to.
Yeah, I mean, this is the time of year, man.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got another short week.
Well, yeah, because Thursday we got Seahawks.
Yeah.
And then Friday, there's this little thing called the Pac-12 championship game that we got to get to. And,
right.
You got three fan bases, right here that are in the lexicon right now. Two are nearing the peak of what you can be as a program. And then you got one who, I'm not going to lie, when I look at Oregon State, I don't know if I can ever remember a program going from the start of the year and what was ahead of you to, like, let's go 6 months before the season started. I've never seen anything that looked so good and so poorly, maybe in my entire life. And I don't care what the AD says with another meaningless statement about how we're moving forward and we're going to fend the program at a Power 5 level. Make no mistake about it. This is one of the darkest days in Power 5 football. This isn't SMU getting the death penalty. I can't recall another Power 5 program going through something quite like Oregon State has gone through over the last 12 months. And don't let the AD in any statement try to sell you on any sort of sunshine here. Maybe they dig their way out of it eventually, but this sucks, and they deserve better.
People never believe ADs anyway.
No.
But yeah, I mean, Oregon State fans not stupid. I mean, I think they see what's going on. We will get to that. We've got a lot to get to. It is a huge Monday broadcast. I don't say that lightly. So let's start with our poll question. AAA Heating and Cooling, family business, helping families for over 60 years. AAAIAQ.com. This is Friday's poll question on X at 1080 The Fan. We asked you, will Friday be the final Civil War for the foreseeable future? 68% of you said, nah, they'll play soon. That's good.
Yeah.
Some optimism there. 25% said, nope, it's done. And then 7% said, no, but it should be done.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, there's definitely those out there that want to be done. I think it'll get done. I don't know. Maybe they may take a year break, but Kerry Eggers had it today that he is reporting that deals haven't been signed, contracts need to be finalized, but there is a schedule in place according to those close to the program. So hopefully soon that will be done. And I would assume that if the Civil War was going to continue at least next year, some of that stuff already would have leaked. I haven't heard anything on that. I know they're still discussing it. So it may take a break, but I think eventually it comes back. But it may not necessarily be next year, but we'll see because it sounds like we'll get a Beaver schedule sooner than later.
So our poll question is on X at 1080 The Fan, and today we're asking you, who is the best college football team in the country? Georgia, Michigan, Oregon, or Washington?
I know who it's not.
Vote and vote hard. You know, I had to put Washington on there,
Yeah.
Jace, because a lot of people think it's Oregon.
Yeah.
And because of the way they're playing. But only one team beat Oregon, and that team is undefeated. So Washington deserves a spot,
Sure.
even though they will not get many votes on that list.
I'm still convinced that something is wrong with Michael Penix. I don't buy it.
Yeah, I tend to agree.
I don't buy the emotion thing, putting his head in the electronics thing, the code over. I don't buy it.
That was weird, wasn't it?
It was very weird. When you watch his mechanics, it doesn't.
Well, let's explain that. If you didn't see the Apple Cup, they snuck one out again.
Yeah.
And he buried his head in the, what was that?
I think it's like where you keep like the Microsoft tablets, you know, like where they charge them. It's like it's a storage container, but I think that's where they charge the tablets, and then down below there's whatever else in there.
So he just tucks his head back in there, does not watch the final game-winning field goal.
No.
There's a security guy standing right in front of him, and he does not, even they make the field goal, he hears the crowd.
Yep. Doesn't turn around.
He does not come up for air.
Nope.
And then the next thing, you know, they're just showing that security guard walking him off with a coat draped over his
with
head.
No one anywhere near him, no players going near him, no one touching him, no one high-fiving him.
It was
he
really
just
strange.
slumps over and leaves the field. I don't buy it. And then afterwards, he claimed that
So you think it's the rib thing from the Oregon
I
game?
think there's something going on there. I think there's a cracked sternum. There's some cartilage damage. Afterwards, they talked about, because he took a couple shots in that game from Stone in the Washington State D-line. And afterwards, someone asked him, and he got real. What are you talking about? I never got hit. I'm fine. Like, come on. He was 18 of 33. And by the way, he tried to give that game away. The final drive they had there, 2 of those balls should have been intercepted. Like, he looks like a completely different quarterback. This, by the way, his first 6 games, and I get the competition has gotten better, but he shredded Oregon in the first half. Shredded them, did whatever he wanted to, and then he got hit. So this is him in his first 6 games. 155 of 215, 72%. 2,300 yards, 20 touchdowns, 3 picks, 190 passer rating. Last 6, this is after Oregon, when he did not look good in the second half. 125 of 212, that's 59%, 12 touchdowns, 5 picks, and 136 passer rating. That is not the same player.
Well, he doesn't look it.
No.
And so now they go into Friday's game against Oregon as a 9-point underdog. How about that line?
And I'll go ahead and I'll lay the points.
That's pretty high.
Unless something changes, Oregon is going to roll them.
All right, so we will get to more of that game in the next, hopefully the next couple of days. Well, obviously the next couple of days, because it is a short week. Let's come back, and would you like to start with the perhaps final Civil War, or would you like to start with what Oregon State is going through? I'll give you the choice there.
I think the Beaver thing, unfortunately, is probably I think the bigger impact right now.
Jonathan Smith is gone.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I saw some of the videos today they put out of him on his on the private jet landing in East Lansing.
It's really poor form.
He's got his
scarf
on.
Yeah.
Is it poor form? Why? He took another job.
The way all that went down, that stinks. It sucks. I get it's the way it is, but
yeah. Well, let's talk about it.
They deserve better.
All right, so we'll get to that coming up next. 3:14 on The Fan.
It's The Fan.
Big Soup's right over there.
Right here.
We have a lot to discuss. We will get to the Civil War game, of course, the Pac-12 championship. But first and foremost, Oregon State is going through it.
Yeah.
As they have lost Jonathan Smith.
Yep.
He is taking the Michigan State job. So he's out of here. You probably can't really blame him, can you?
No, I don't blame him. I just think when you look at the way all this went down, this goes back to, this has been going on for a month and a half, 2 months. He knew he was gone a long time ago. And I guess I give him some credit, for not doing the song and dance of I'm not going anywhere. So I guess you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. But going into that Arizona game when he's still negotiating with Michigan State, you're a one-loss team with a chance to win the Pac-12. You think you have a legitimate chance to win the Pac-12. And you say this all the time. And I know you were gone on Wednesday, but by Wednesday, the cat was out of the bag. And by Thursday morning it was all but confirmed by anyone in the know. And you say
he basically said
it. So when you have a coach that is looking,
sorry to cut you off. Don't you think it's somewhat commendable that he was honest about it? What's he supposed to say? The guy's bailing, and he came out on a radio show and he said, "Look, my agent has a job to do. That's why I pay him. He's doing his job." And he essentially said, I'm
gone.
Yeah,
and
then at the end of it, he said, "All I'm trying to do is be honest with you." And
but to your point,
the best you can say.
When you're doing this, you are not giving your team everything. And this was a big year for Oregon State. Yeah. It was maybe their only year for the foreseeable future. And everything you wanted was in front of you still when you started negotiations with Michigan State. And, you beat Washington there, and you've got a crack at going to the Pac-12 title game if you beat Oregon. And it still wouldn't have mattered. Your mind was still made up. And so to have those players and that fan base really have this be kind of your last stand and your last chance at really doing something special, and knowing that for the last, let's say, 6 to 7 weeks, your coach wasn't on board. But he basically told the team on Tuesday.
But this is common, though. This happens every year. And faster than ever.
Yep.
So Michigan State had to get their guy, and they targeted Jonathan Smith. And so I guess he's damned if he does or damned if he doesn't, because if he comes out the week of the Civil War and lies and denies and denies and denies, I think he looks worse, because we all know, look, and no one can blame him for leaving. We all knew he was leaving, and no one can really blame him for leaving. Look at what has happened at Oregon State. It's
unprecedented.
It's not his fault. No. And I don't know. I think your ire should be, if you are upset about Jonathan Smith leaving or how it went down, or any element of any of this last week, how this went down, I think that ire is misdirected, because it's possible that Jonathan Smith is upset at the university.
Sure.
That's his school. He played there.
Yeah.
He came back there. Scott Barnes sold him a vision. He came back there.
And it fell out from underneath him.
And they absolutely, of course it did. Yeah. Look at this. It's a mess. Yeah. And I don't really understand why Scott Barnes isn't taking more heat. Somehow, some way, the lexicon has flipped this into Ed Ray, who doesn't even work there anymore, is a bigger issue than Scott Barnes or the current president at Oregon State. Everyone had a hand in this crumbling. Everyone.
Sure.
In the Pac-12, and that includes Washington State and Oregon State's current administration. So maybe Jonathan Smith kind of said F you. Like, there were plenty of roads for this to be handled way better, and it wasn't.
I think it just turned out, and maybe
so I'm leaving.
This was maybe foolish on Beaver fans' part. Was there was hope that when the moment the Pac-12 collapsed, you knew that it was a matter of time.
Yeah,
you didn't sign up
with him.
Yeah, you knew it was a matter of time because he didn't sign up for this.
Yeah, dude, he's not going to the Mountain West.
I think there was hope that he would stay and shepherd their way through the tough times.
Okay,
and two things can be true at the same time. And I said this on when the news came out. I don't fault Jonathan Smith for what he did. But at the same time, I can feel that what happened to those fans and what happened to those players is also really, really crappy. I put myself in those shoes if I'm one of those players, and you heard some of them come out, from Bolden to Martinez. We've heard some of them come out and basically say as much. To be told, and this is why I'm all for players taking whatever they can, whenever they can, shut up about the transfer portal or NIL, because it's always the players that get the raw end of the stick here. And I feel for those guys that had a chance to do something really special. And I feel like for the last month or a month and a half, the coaching staff wasn't there, and yet they were still preaching it. I understand why they had to do it. It doesn't mean that I have to like the way it went down.
No, that's fair.
But it also goes to show you, too, that whether it was Michigan State or UCLA or one of the other jobs that was open, the only part that's dishonest to me, the only part, is the idea that Michigan State is some sort of giant destination job. No. It was the first good job that was the train leaving Corvallis.
Well, and it's the Big Ten.
It's the Big Ten.
Yeah, I actually don't think he goes to Michigan State if the Pac-12 doesn't crumble.
100%.
I think he stays.
I believe
at Oregon.
that, yes.
He'll stay at Oregon
But
State.
I think, and this is why I said, to me, I've never seen a program that's outside of maybe SMU and the death penalty that's going to go through a darker stretch here. And that is, you don't have a schedule. Supposedly one's coming, but we know it's not going to be great. You can say all you want that you're going to fund the program as a Power 5 level. It's not a Power 5. You don't have direct access to a championship. You don't know what the next 2 years is going to hold. You just lost your head coach. You took most of the staff with you, and December 4th is going to come. And my guess is, and I hope I'm wrong, and I know Martinez has come out and made some bold claims that he wants to be there. I personally think that this roster between graduation and the transfer portal is about to be absolutely gutted. And you're not going to be able to recruit right now for the next 2 years under uncertainty. Chances are you end up with a first-year coach, probably Bray, who I think would be a great, hopefully guy to stabilize this. But I've just never seen a program that went from where Oregon State was to rebuilding to a 9 to 10 win team 2 years in a row to a legitimate title contender with a great young coach who you thought could stay because he was his alma mater. And within 12 months to be where you're at,
and that's why
it's just devastating.
It is devastating. It's awful, and not even a Duck fans. I don't think most Duck fans, they don't want this.
No.
Nobody wants
No.
This is just an S sandwich.
Yep.
But I also, you tell me, should Scott Barnes still have a job?
No.
I mean, I don't understand how that guy continues to be at the helm there when this has all happened. Like, what you just laid out is catastrophic.
Yes.
He was at the helm of all of it,
Yep.
and the president. Of course, the president, there's other,
Changed.
you're not just going to.
But Ed Ray deserves a lot of blame because he was a Larry.
Yeah, I get that.
He was a Larry Scott guy.
I get that, but it's so weird to me that Ed Ray gets more heat than Scott Barnes.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
Ed Ray's not even there.
Yeah.
And I get it. This has been a long time coming, and there are a lot of fingers to point. But Scott Barnes was in that room when this was all going down. Scott Barnes was in that room before this was all going down.
Yeah.
And he somehow skates all criticism. I don't know, man. I don't get it. You're right. It's absolutely awful for Beaver Nation. I don't know what they do, but I just don't blame Jonathan Smith. I think he handled it as about as I mean, I don't know what else he could have done. He was screwed either way.
Yes.
Because he can't lie about it. Or I mean, he can, but then that's when we criticize coaches when they lie about it. So he was honest about it. And that maybe torpedoed the Civil War, although I think Oregon had one for Oregon State no matter what. But
the players knew before. There was that thing was over before it started.
I just want let's pause, and when we come back, you said something that I want to follow up on, because I actually think, I like Jonathan Smith. Jonathan Smith did a great job at Oregon State. But can I be the first to question Michigan State hiring him?
Sure.
Can I be the first?
Absolutely.
Or is somebody else already? Are they on Spartan Radio right now yelling about?
I think they're pretty excited.
Are they?
Yeah.
And they should be. Like, Jonathan Smith is a good football coach.
Yes.
But one thing.
Sure.
And we'll get to that next. 3:29. Here is Schulte with SportsCenter.
Now, from the Spirit Mountain Casino Sports Desk, a SportsCenter update on 1080 The Fan.
This update brought to you by Redtail Golf's annual store-wide holiday sale, now through December 24th. Details at golfredtail.com. Huskies-Ducks.com. First on the Fan, Week 12 of the NFL wrapping up tonight with Monday Night Football. You got the Bears visiting the Vikings. Justin Jefferson, though, officially out for Minnesota, still recovering from that injured hamstring. The Vikings a 3-point favorite. Kickoff set for 5:15 on ESPN and ABC. The Carolina Panthers making big news today, firing head coach Frank Reich after going 1-10 in his first 11 games. Special teams coordinator Chris Tabor has been named the interim, and he reportedly immediately fired quarterbacks coach Josh McCown and running backs coach Deuce Staley. Into the NBA after blowing a 26-point lead to Damian Lillard and the Milwaukee Bucks. The Blazers right back at it tonight against the Pacers in Indianapolis. Portland is an 11.5-point underdog. Tip-off set for 4 p.m. on Root Sports. And in baseball, a couple of transactions. The Dodgers bringing back Jason Hayward on a 1-year, $9 million pact, and the Cardinals signing starting pitcher Sonny Gray for 3 years, $75 million. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Schulte from the Spirit Mountain Casino Sports Desk. Watch and wager on all the pro and college action. Learn more at spiritmountain.com.
Every day, get the NFL headlines delivered straight to you. Follow the Best Football Show with Brian Baldinger on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Have you ever wanted to drive a MAX train? Join the TriMet team as a bus driver, and you could become a MAX operator faster than ever. After learning to drive a bus, you can immediately qualify for MAX operator training. Pay starts at over $27.
All right, it is 3:35 with Isaac and Suk. We are talking about the departure of Jonathan Smith, who is now the coach at Michigan State. I would like to be the first to question this hire for Michigan State. I mean, I get why he may fit there.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be because he's a program builder.
Yes.
I mean, he did a great job of that, taking not much of anything and building it up, particularly along the lines. Did a really good job.
And he's taking his offensive line coach with him as well. So,
well, and he's adept offensively, and you want that in today's game. So there's a lot to like about Jonathan Smith. I think Jonathan Smith is a good coach and did a great job, and I mean great, at Oregon State. At the same time, I think, and this is what I wanted to question, and I want to know your thoughts on this. All things being equal, let's say the Pac-12 stayed together and all this other hullabaloo is not going on. I mean, he was the one thing you had going in a sea of choppy water. Everything else was crumbling around him.
Yeah, and you were hoping he was going to be the guy to shepherd you through.
Well, so the last thing that would be on the topic list today, considering everything that's happened with Oregon State and the Pac-12, would be the job that Jonathan Smith did this season.
Yeah.
Okay, but take all that other stuff away, I wonder if we wouldn't be saying how disappointing this season is for Oregon State. Let's say the Pac-12 stayed together. None of that's an issue. He's staying at Oregon State, and they go into this season. They won 10 games last year, or 9 games in the regular season. Won the bowl game, obviously.
Same chance this year.
And so then they upgrade the quarterback position, and they are amongst the top of the league, along with Utah, USC, who ended up taking steps back, and Oregon and Washington. And they didn't have major injuries. And they followed that up with 8-4. Now, this is what I wanted to ask you. To me, that's not good enough. And it's disappointing considering where expectations were. But I think you might have insinuated last segment that you think it all went south because he was already leaving Oregon State and going to Michigan State.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, all the way back to the first.
All the way
the
going
first
back.
loss was Washington State.
First loss, Washington State.
So
No,
that right there.
that was
That right there.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say it's an inexcusable loss. Washington State kind of got going towards the end of the season again.
That one hurts.
And at one time they were cooking, but you can't lose that game.
No, you can't.
And they lost that game. And then the whole thing with the fake field goal of the Arizona game cost them dearly.
Yep.
Right. And I get a lot of these losses were close, but I just feel like after upgrading the quarterback position and going into the season with expectations coming off of the one that they just had with everything in place, I actually thought it was a pretty disappointing year for Oregon State. Now, of course, this is not going to be talked about because there are so many other things on that.
Yeah, there's a lot of layers
on that list to discuss that are bigger issues. But I didn't think he had a great year. And quite frankly, I think when he goes to Michigan State, while he's maybe a good fit initially to build up the program, I don't know what their expectations are there. I don't know if they have sort of Kansas, Kentucky type expectations, or if they're more along the lines of the Texas A&M, Michigans. Because if it's the latter, they're going to be, I think long term, they're going to be disappointed with Jonathan Smith. I think that's a guy that's going to win 8 games, can win 8 games, can build the program. But there's a lot of leaky oil in that I saw with Oregon State. And maybe it's because he was leaving, and that's
something
wrong.
that I'll never know. And maybe as this goes on, because plenty of players are speaking out, and I'd like to see them come out and actually give interviews on this. Because right now we're getting a lot of retweets, we're getting a lot of likes on comments from lots of players. Who was it recently? It might have been Damian Martinez that said, "Hey, when it was us against the world, I didn't realize it was us against the world and our coach." And he reposted that or liked it. I mean, this is taking some good shots. And so I asked the question. I think Jonathan Smith was checked out a long, long time ago. Maybe even at the start of the season. I think when the Pac-12 collapsed, I think he was looking for the first ship out of town. And so we'll never know. But from Washington State, which, whatever, but certainly Arizona, Washington, and Oregon, he was all but gone during those and was deep in negotiations with Michigan State. And I'll go back to Mike Holmgren in the Super Bowl against the Broncos when the Packers inexplicably lost that game and going back to back, to what you say all the time, that when college coaches have one foot out the door, look at Mario Cristobal, it trickles down. Teams feel it, players feel it, staff feels it. Everyone starts looking for an exit sign.
Although Elko didn't A&M hire Elko?
Yeah.
Duke just had a big win this last weekend, didn't they?
Well, Elko wasn't going to be the guy. That's a whole other thing. They hired Stoops.
Stoopsy.
And they floated that to see how it went, and they got Shianu'd. I mean, that you want to talk about what an interesting job A&M is? They made a decision to hire the Kentucky coach, Mark Stoops. And collectively, the A&M fan base on social media said, yeah, no, we're not doing that.
I don't really understand why they didn't think he was good enough.
And they had to put their tail between their legs and shift, and ended up going with Elko, who, by the way, was a coordinator at A&M. So there you go.
So maybe Elko, you're saying Elko.
He was their second choice.
Well, okay, but you think that Elko did not have one foot out the door. You think that's like a lot. Like, see what I mean? Like these coaches, and we can go through them all. I do think, obviously, we've been talking about this over the last couple of years. I do think there's something to college teams in November who are losing their coach.
Yeah.
They go south. It definitely had. Cristobal is a great example.
Yep.
And Oregon State may be that this year. It's just unclear when it all started.
Exactly. But Michigan State fired their coach a long time ago. And to me, the Jonathan Smith stuff, it sounds like he was, if not their top target, maybe they shoot for the moon on a couple of them and they get told no. Michigan State, let me just say this too to Beaver fan, because I've got your back here, but you got to stop with the Michigan State being the same job as you. Michigan State is such a better job than Oregon State. I mean, so that's the one thing we need to be honest about. Stop it. Do you realize in the last 13 years, since 2010, do you know how many 11, not 10, 11 win seasons Michigan State has? 7. 5 BCS games, including going to the playoffs.
So do they have expectations like the folks do at A&M?
I think it's Wisconsin. So they know they're not Ohio.
Pretty good.
They know they're not Ohio State. They know they're not Michigan, which, by the way, they bitch slapped Michigan under D'Antonio for like 5-6 straight years. Michigan State, and by the way, they'll pay their coach $10 million a year. So can we just stop with the idea that this is some sort of lateral move?
Yeah,
Michigan State is a much better program and a much better job than Oregon State.
But he probably doesn't take it.
Yes, I don't think he takes it if everything.
If the Pac-12 stays.
No, because they were going to get him to $7 or $8 million, especially if they were sticking around.
He would have been fine
in the Pac-12. He wouldn't have gone anywhere.
You just, as the Oregon State Beavers, as a program as a whole, all right. We're hoping for 10-win seasons. That was like 22 into 23, right? That's been Michigan State for 3 decades. I love you, Beaver fan. I'm on your side here, but unfortunately, it's just not equal.
I just think he made, and this is just my opinion talking to people, I think when that thing ended, and I mean the Pac-12, I think he was life raft. Where are we going? Strike while the iron's hot. I'm not sticking around on this. And the Michigan State's a good job. And I think he would have left.
It's in the Big Ten.
It's in the Big Ten. I think he would have left for any number of jobs. I think
in the Power 5.
In the Power 5.
Or Power 4.
UCLA,
Power 4
A&M, Power 4.
By the way, there's a tweet that says that's suggesting UCLA is keeping Chip Kelly.
Yeah.
You guys shut up.
Even after getting drilled at the end. So I guess beating USC greater than getting your ass kicked by Cal.
Well,
so.
I mean, I don't know if that's true, but it's from Football Scoop.
Yeah.
Who are you going to go get if you're UCLA at this point?
Well, that's
Mark
probably
Stoops?
Well, and they're poor
By the
too.
way,
they don't have a bunch of money.
Can I just say that Kentucky job? What a great job. Mark Stoops, he could be there forever.
Yeah.
They don't really care. They're a basketball school. They're like,
and he
give
does
you
a nice job.
75,000 fans every Saturday.
Yep.
And they don't have the expectations of A&M.
Yep. Oh, believe me,
he's a good coach.
Dude, there's part of me that I'd rather play in the Kentucky sandbox than go down there and deal with A&M and that.
I love that
bunch of crazies,
yeah,
which is why I kind of like the Michigan State job.
I love that A&M said Mark Stoops wasn't good enough for them.
I know,
and then hire Mike Elko.
Well, he's their guy. If you've been on their team before, it's like, oh, welcome back. We love you.
It's just fans. Like, why? That's less about the fans and more about if you're an administration that cowers to the whims of fans and what they think, you're an idiot. Like you're already on the wrong track.
Well, and that's like Tennessee and it's Texas A&M, and you hear these programs and
trust it.
Yeah,
trust it. Hey, I'll give Rob Mullins credit. He whiffed a couple times.
Yep.
He hit a home run with Dan Lanning, but every time he was sure he made the right hire. It wasn't about the fans.
Well, I remember when Pete Carroll got hired, USC fans killed him.
Yeah, well, he was like their 5th choice.
Yeah,
wasn't
turned out to be pretty good though.
back in the day.
I just, it just.
Well, when you cheat, you can be good.
Oh,
Yeah,
look
that's-
at you!
I had to get
Look
that in
at
there.
you.
Sorry.
Look at you!
it just goes to underscore how crappy the Pac-2 on an island thing. And by the way, the only thing saving Dickert is that they, from Washington State, having the same fate, is that Dickert fell off and he's not a name anymore. But Dickert would be the same thing. Had Washington State kept the season going and won 8 or 9 games, we'd be doing this exact same thing with Washington State.
That reminds me. I will say this about Jonathan Smith. I think this is another good thing about him. He never bitched about NIL, and he never said it's your fault if you don't help.
Yeah.
Like stupid freaking Jake Dickert did.
Yeah.
You know who the latest guy to do? This drives me crazy. The latest guy to do this was Jim Mora Jr. I don't know if you saw him say this.
Dion did it too.
But Jim Mora Jr. is at UConn. They went 3-9, and he used it as a reason why they suck. And this should not be acceptable. I don't understand why coaches. Well, I guess I do understand why coaches can say whatever the hell they want, why they're allowed to get away with it. But coaches, like Jonathan Smith, never said that. He never came out and said, it's tough here, and we really need you. And if you don't help, it's your fault if we're not winning. Dude, get out of here with that. You've always been behind the 8 ball at Oregon State and Washington State. Obviously, it's much worse now, no question. But Jake Dickert bitching about that is just, it's deflecting blame.
Yep.
And at least with Jonathan Smith, the thing about it is he understood the landscape. And he said, this is not for me. I cannot win here. And he got out. And I don't know who would blame him for that. The other thing about him leaving that we don't know is how much he knows about how Oregon State could have prevented it. Yeah. Perhaps he's sitting there listening to Scott Barnes the whole time going, dude, what are we doing? Yeah. Let's take this road. Let's try this. I'm sure he was in with Scott Barnes on how it all went down. Perhaps Jonathan Smith is flat out livid at Oregon State for not protecting Oregon State.
Possible.
And he'll never say it because he's too nice of a guy. Yep. But I think he said it by hopping on a plane to East Lansing this morning. That says everything you need to know about how Jonathan Smith feels. So boy, man, if you're harboring ill will towards Jonathan Smith, I think it's misdirected.
I do too, but I can't fault the fact that Beaver fan feels like you had a special season in front of you and you had a coach with 1 foot out seemingly for the last month and a half when you had 2 very close losses. That will never sit right with me, and it certainly won't sit right with Beaver fan. And now, unfortunately, I think you're closing your eyes and crossing your fingers that December 4th rolls around, and for Christmas you don't get 50% of your roster picked over. That's the scary part.
All right.
They're coming for you.
Up next, one more on this, and that is who should Oregon State hire? 347 on the Fan.
The Fan is
the final Pac-12 Civil War. But last little topic here on Oregon State, what's going on there, is who they should go get. There are 3 names that I have heard. I haven't been looking too closely, but obviously the first name I thought of, and of course everybody's thought of it, is Trent Bray.
Yeah, he didn't go with Smith. Originally he was
linebackers coach,
and then he wasn't. And by all accounts, he seems to be the front runner, and at least amongst the players, they're doing the play for Bray. So like that's going to be the
play for Bray.
Yeah, like a bunch of players
they like him.
They like.
Well, he's a player's coach. He's young, energetic.
His dad coached there. He played there.
He has shot up the coaching ranks ever since because I think his first coaching job was there, right? Like
no, he was like Arizona State.
Was he somewhere else? Okay,
yeah. But he makes a lot of sense.
A ton of sense. The other 2 names were Bronco Mendenhall.
And he's been out for a little bit. He was a really good coach at BYU and did an okay job at Virginia.
And I think he has ties to Oregon State. Didn't he go there?
I think he played there.
Yeah.
And he might have been their defensive coordinator back in the day as well.
And then Paul Christ, who is the old Wisconsin head coach, who was Mike Riley's offensive coordinator.
He was an analyst this year at Texas, I think, and he interviewed. We know that. He has interviewed for the job. I haven't heard if Mendenhall officially interviewed, but so
I mean, to me, it's Bray.
Yeah.
Of those 3, I don't know if there's. I mean, sure, there's a lot of other names out there.
Yeah.
But I don't know who they are.
Bray seems to make the most sense. Although there's something to be said for Chris, who had some success. Like he was kind of a victim of expectations at Wisconsin. He's a good coach, and having someone with a little more experience, this might be kind of scary to go into this with a first-time young head coach. This is some choppy water. So,
wow,
like
his record was good at Wisconsin.
Yeah,
he 67-26.
Yeah, he was good,
and he won every one of his 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-1 in bowls.
Yeah,
lost the one Rose Bowl.
Nothing wrong with him at Wisconsin. He just kind of fell victim to Barry Alvarez and the expectations at Wisconsin.
Yeah, I just wonder if he's with the NIL and transfer portal and that whole thing. Like that we always talk about these coaches that sort of they kind of become dinosaurs in today's new age game.
Yeah.
With that, with the transfer portal and everything, I wonder if Christ is one of those. I mean, there's maybe a reason he hasn't resurfaced with a record like that.
Yeah, I would. I would say that anytime.
I don't know that.
I would say anytime you're interviewing a coach, to me, I think your plan to be a dynamic recruiter, transfer portal, being able to sell a program. I think that is. I mean, obviously your acumen, X's and O's, and all that. I kind of think your ability to sell your program and to recruit and manage the transfer portal, I actually think that's maybe the most important thing going in today's game. And I couldn't tell you. I don't know what Chris has in that. He doesn't. I will tell you just from the interviews I've seen with him and what I know, he's not the most dynamic guy in the world. So like you said, maybe there's something there, but I do think with his record, to me, if I'm a Beaver fan, I may feel a little better about someone that's been around the block a time or two that can kind of usher me through this, because it's going to be rough. But I totally get the Trent Bray, a hometown kid, and one of your own, and kind of going young and dynamic that way, and the players love him. I totally get that.
Do you think they'll kick the tires around on like a Nick Rolovich, or is that just going to be, is his name just too hot?
I haven't heard boo, but Nick I certainly would.
What about Art Briles?
Yeah,
that might be.
Hey now.
Yeah.
Hi.
Now, Rolovich would be a very interesting hire. I haven't heard his name once.
I think he's like the OC for like the Sea Dragons of the AFL or whatever FL, like extra football league is happening right now. But he's still around doing football, just in college. Yeah, nothing the last year or so.
So yeah, you just don't know. But a decision has to be made now. Again, your biggest thing that you got to figure out is December 4th. Just transfer portal opens. And by the way, one of the national football writers that I follow, Brad Crawford, he goes on Paul Feinbaum's show all the time, 24/7. I saw this morning, he tweeted out, he goes, I have seen the names that are going to go into the transfer portal. And he goes, I can't speak on it yet because, the players don't want it. He goes, you are going to be shocked at the number of big time. The transfer portal is just get ready every year now. It's going to be free agency.
Hey, man, I'm all about it.
And
I think it's fun.
And Washington State and Oregon State, anybody that you have that is worth a damn, they are going to come in droves at your guys. And you better have a guy, you better have your NIL ready. You better have your sales pitch ready. You better have your schedule ready and a path that you can tell your players going forward, including the head coach.
Hey.
You got to do it, and you got to do it now.
You got Scott Barnes, though, man. You're in good hands.
I'm waiting for.
Oh, wait.
I love the statements about nothing to see here. We're fine, and then just everything continues to not be fine.
Yeah.
So Lebowski, nothing is effed here, man. Nothing is effed. The plane has gone into the side of the GD Mountain
Until Aiden Childs decides to transfer to Oregon. Then.
Well, my guess is I think the Michigan State quarterback is entering the transfer portal. Yeah. So there you go.
All right, Ducks dominate the final Pac-12 Civil War. We'll get to that next on The Fan. You're having a nice little Monday. Had a good Thanksgiving. It's Rop and Sook. We've got Schulte in there. He has prepared an award-winning stock watch.
Oh yeah, there's buzz on the street about it. Much like Jonathan Smith, they're buzzing about the stock watch.
It's already won an award.
Oh yeah, Schulte going double Mariner gear today. I mean, he's dialed in today.
Yeah, there might be a Mariner story in there. There might be.
Oh, yeah. Did you see Well, I missed this on Wednesday with my bum gravy.
Yeah,
Eugenio Suarez is no more.
he gone.
Hey, Eugenio. Hey, bye-bye.
Gino, thanks for coming. He's going to the desert, man.
Thanks, Jerry. Jerk.
Gonna team up with Seawald again.
They traded him.
He gone.
Well, he struck out too much.
Hey, don't worry, they got a backup catcher. I think they're two big moves this year for both backup veteran catchers. Come on, get excited.
Hey, they got a guy that was good in 2021 as well.
He throws gas.
Anyway, that's next. But let's talk about the Civil War,
Yeah,
the final one. I mean, maybe
in theory, we'll see.
the final Pac-12 Civil War.
Yeah.
Well, it was a rout. The Ducks.
Yeah, it wasn't.
The Ducks beat them.
It wasn't real competitive.
Tell you what.
I felt like the Beavs, though, for as lopsided as that was, and this is why I go back to. I mean, again, he told his players the day before the game. Players are now confirming it. Parents are confirming it. There was no juice on the sideline for Oregon State. They had opportunities in that game to at least make it a game and take it into some deep water, but you know the touchdown. Landing's ability to figure out call timeouts and give yourself a minute at the end of the half. When they went down and scored that, it felt like that was a backbreaker that they were.
Was it 14-7?
It was 14-7 with like a minute left. Oregon goes down, goes 21-7, and you felt like, okay, there's no coming back from this. But the Beavs held them to 3 points in the third quarter. Like there were, believe me, as much of an ass kicking as that was, Oregon State found a way to hang around that game if they could have made some plays offensively, but they couldn't run the ball at all. Oregon's offense was brilliant, as it's been almost all year, and I think the left side of your line being gone, I think, was a much bigger impact than Oregon State or anyone's going to let on. And by the way, one of your backups had been in and out of the lineup. So you were playing with two backup O-linemen, one of them that was beat up. And even on the defensive side of the ball, I just think it was a war of attrition and Oregon State wore down. And they were up against a much, just a better opponent, and things needed to go a certain way. And I think there were opportunities there for Oregon State, and they just never could make a play on the offensive ball or on the offensive side or really get off the field on third or fourth down.
Yeah, Oregon played great, though. I mean, I thought, that's as close to a perfect game, at least offensively. Well, I mean, how do you nitpick that game? Did Lanning? Well, I guess
10 points in the second quarter or in the second half. That's what you're going to nitpick.
A couple penalties too. I would say that there was some false starts that didn't need to be there. I mean, defensive side, a couple of offsides. Elite teams do not do that. They don't shoot themselves in the foot.
They are. I tell you what, man.
They're rolling.
They are peaking.
Yeah.
And
can I also say this?
Oh, the other thing can I nitpick?
Yeah,
I did
nitpick.
Think of one thing. Kickoffs out of bounds drive me crazy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
How does that happen?
There were little silly
Cam Lewis
things.
Sucks.
There were little silly things that if Oregon State just could convert on some third downs, like they had an opportunity to make that a ball game, but it never felt. It never felt.
Dude,
in doubt.
Oregon's offense is so freaking good.
And this is where I'm going to nitpick.
And you go back to Bo Nix and his decisions.
This is where I'm going to nitpick. And it's the only thing I can nitpick the Oregon offense. Hey, did you know that Bo Nix sat in team meetings? Did you know that? Hey, did you know that Tez Johnson and him are brothers? Hey, did you know that Bo Nix was a 6-year player? Hey, did you know that Bo Nix is the greatest human being on earth? My God, can we tone that down just a scooch? I don't know if Brock was doing.
So it's just the coverage of.
Well, I just don't know if Brock was doing the ham and husky, so I got to make sure that I'm not biased against the Ducks. But gee. I love Bo Nix, and I've said that's your Heisman Trophy winner. Don't give me anyone else. I don't care what happens against Washington. That's your Heisman Trophy guy.
Could not agree more.
But my God, dial it back.
I mean,
he sits in on meetings. Everybody sits in on meetings.
Well, how do you nitpick Nix? I mean, that guy.
You can't. He's having an unbelievable year.
That's what they do on college broadcasts. Is they
find a narrative.
It's not like the professional broadcasts where they, you can be critical. Those guys make a lot of money. On college, they always try to prop up the players, and so they, I mean, like they find things like Bo Nix. You got to be honest, man. Bo Nix is like, he's perfect. How do you
I can't.
How do you? And
so
when
the dumbasses out there that talk about check down passes, shut up.
Well,
watch him play.
Hopefully they watch that game because that across the field throw was that to Tez?
Was that to Tez? I think it might have been to Franklin.
Anyway, I feel like Bo Nix. I mean, it's pretty special what's happening with him this year, and it came out of. I wouldn't say it came out of nowhere, but
2 years ago it did.
Dude, he was a laughingstock at one point in college football.
Yep.
And so it is a great story, and he's a presentable kid. He's a nice kid. Nobody can say anything bad about him. No. So I get where they.
It's a little Tebow-esque, is what it reminds me of.
Yeah, it is. And he's a religious kid, right?
Yes,
isn't he?
Very much Team Jesus.
He's already married, actually.
Married.
Wow.
Yeah.
Believe me, I thought as I was watching the game, I was like, "Holy crap! It's Tim Tebow."
A little bit.
They're Tebowing this again.
A little bit. Yeah. But I mean, there's a lot of. all I'm saying is there's a lot of substance behind that.
Yeah.
It's not like they're propping up a kid that's overrated, like you always said with Jake Locker or whatever.
Bo's the real deal.
Dude, he is the real deal.
The
He's playing like
the Heisman votes came out today. So if you're a Heisman voter, you have your ballot today. And if anyone votes before they finish watching the championship weeks and you see Penix and Nix, which, by the way, no offense to Michael Penix, who I love and have been very high on all year, he's out of it, in my opinion.
Well, it's not Penix. You know the odds. Have you seen the odds?
Yeah, I'm sure he's plummeted.
So Nix is now minus money. So he's minus 130. Penix is plus 1,600.
Yeah, there's nothing
The only other guy up near Nix is Jaden Daniels, who is still hanging around at plus 10. As a matter of fact, or plus 110, sorry. There's a lot of people touting Daniels as clearly the Heisman. And these are probably just national people.
People in raw numbers.
They never watch Bo Nix play.
Yeah. Well, and you got this is like.
But
when,
there's no way Daniels wins this over Nix, right?
I wouldn't think so. But like Lamar Jackson won it the year, and I think they had 3 losses. So we have seen it before because Daniels' numbers.
But who did he win it over?
I'd have to look. But to me, if you don't watch Oregon against Washington and before you cast your vote. And again, this game is almost irrelevant to me. You're a Heisman Trophy winner, the best player all year, that's lost one game through no fault of his own. No fault. He was great in that game. The 3rd and 4th downs, those were.
Missed the game-tying kick.
That
wasn't him.
Not him. Bo Nix is the best player in college football right now.
I agree. I mean, I think he.
There's your Heisman Trophy.
I think he should have already locked it up. But
I agree.
It does come down to these last. This is a big game, obviously, against Penix, and I would imagine that if Penix has a huge game and Washington wins,
sure,
then it's back to being a conversation.
I'll bet you if that happens, though, Penix won't win it. It'll be Daniels.
Maybe. Yeah.
If Penix outduels Bo or Bo throws a couple picks or whatever, Penix won't vault to win the thing. He just hasn't been good enough the last 6 or 7 weeks. But what that'll do is that'll be like, well, see, and it's only one more, loss that Jaden Daniels has, and it's in the SEC, and then we'll go back and we'll give it to Jaden Daniels.
It's possible. But those 3 quarterbacks, those 3 guys, remember Jaden Daniels, he was at Arizona State. Remember Nix at Auburn. Remember Penix at Indiana.
Yep.
Those 3 quarterbacks, a very good lesson in development at the college level.
You
Never forget that.
You can get better.
You can get better, and fans can be all over you, and you suck, and you're the worst, and transfer, and whatever, and we're going to upgrade from you, but look at all 3 of those guys. It's pretty amazing that they're as good as they are.
And a lot of these guys now, when you look at players on big-time programs, I don't know if the let the freshman, play in the 4-year starter, that I'm not going to say that's over, but it does seem a little antiquated that.
Yeah. Now it's like, go get the older guy.
Yeah, go get the older guy.
It's all about the experience.
Yes. And then, if the younger guy beats him out, so be it. But, most of these programs now go out, even if you have a talented freshman that's a 5-star kid, most of the big programs do go out and find someone to come in. Or I promise you that after Bo Nix leaves this year, Oregon has, Ty Thompson's been sitting for a while, and they got a couple talented freshmen and another one coming in. Oregon will go find another quarterback that's got some experience to come in and push those guys.
Aiden Childs.
Well, he
Boy.
doesn't have much experience.
No, but
It's okay.
that would be like
Tyler Shuck's back out there.
I would feel so bad for Beaver fan
What?
if Childs left and went to Oregon.
What if he went to Michigan State?
That's more,
I'd say Oregon would be worse.
The Oregon thing would be.
I hate to say this, but I don't think he starts next year at Oregon.
Yeah,
They're gonna, like you said, I think they're gonna go find a more experienced.
Well, like
guy.
UCLA, for instance, Dante Moore, he gave up his commitment to Oregon to go to UCLA so he could play as a freshman. But
How'd that
then,
work out?
No, not well. They put Schleien, they put everybody, or Gebbers, or whoever else they had, and Moore didn't play the last 4 or 5 games.
You wonder if, too, this is a conversation for another day, but you wonder if, based on what you're saying, a lot of the freshman quarterbacks, even the high-profile freshman quarterbacks, will cut their teeth and get starts at, I don't want to say smaller schools, but lesser schools. And the big boy, it becomes like a farm system.
Wouldn't shock me.
Where the big boys come calling after you have 30 starts under your belt.
Yeah.
You
well,
know?
and I know this isn't quite that, but God, why can't I think of Mississippi State, the Cowbells?
Will
Levy.
Rogers?
No, he's their coach at Mississippi State now. He was photographed today in Starksville with Arch Manning. So
Yeah, Will Rogers, the Mississippi State quarterback.
Yeah.
He's in the transfer
He's in the
portal.
transfer portal, and there's a lot of speculation that Arch is saying bye-bye to Texas and hello to the Cowbell.
Nice.
I just think this is, you're right. This is going to be the new norm in college football, is this, especially at the quarterback position. It's just going to be a rotating cast of characters. By the way, Washington's going to do it too. They're going to go find a transfer quarterback.
Well, everybody is, and I tell you what, as a fan, I kind of like it. I think it's fun. I know it's different, and I know old fuddy-duddy college football fans going to hate it, but I think it's like free agency, and free agency in pro sports is fun.
Yeah.
It's the same in college.
Shakes
it
it
adds an
up.
element to it that, I mean, you can get a lot better fast. You hit you hit on one of these guys. See Bo Nix.
Yeah.
So the Ducks dominate the final Pac-12 Civil War. More on that later. Up next, it's our Primetime Stock Watch, what we're buying and selling from the weekend in sports on The Fan.
Yeah.
have been, even if he stayed. So no, not the final nail.
Milrose stands in, lets everybody get downfield, still standing. He throws into the end zone. He caught it. It's caught! It's caught by Isaiah Bond! Caught by Isaiah Bond in the corner of the end zone. Touchdown, Alabama!
Yeah, that was Jalen Milroe hitting Bond for a 31-yard touchdown. Leads Alabama over the Auburn Tigers 27-24. They're now in the SEC championship game. A lot of people have been wondering, at least in the national side of the media, if Oregon is a little higher ranked than they should be. Alabama, the SEC blue blood, they've only lost to Texas as compared to Oregon to Washington. So you guys buy or sell that Alabama should be above Oregon in the college football playoff rankings?
No.
Oh, you mean tomorrow?
No, I don't. I think Oregon's
Or
the
right
best.
now? Wait, well, I guess-
Either today or tomorrow. It doesn't matter. Just
No.
at all. I think
I
people
think-
have been saying they should have been there even after the Texas loss above Oregon.
I think Oregon has the best. I think Oregon is the best one-loss team in the country. I'll listen to resume stuff because it's not a great resume that Oregon has. I get Alabama if you want to go resume, but I think it's not like Alabama's resume is stellar. And you lost at home. Your one loss is by double digits at home to Texas, which is a top 6 team, right? 6 or 7, wherever Texas is.
Yeah, I think they're right below Oregon.
And Oregon's one loss is a single digit loss on the road to, again, a top 4 team. So, and Oregon to me looks better than Alabama. And so, no, to me, Oregon is the best one loss team in the country. Period. End of story. So I don't care about the blue blood status.
Yeah, I would sell it too. Wasn't Texas ahead of Alabama too?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, Texas.
Well, I guess
Texas beat 'em.
they beat them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't think Alabama should be ahead of Oregon. I would sell it. One thing that I believe when comparing the two schools is what league they're playing in, and I get that. They always talk about top 25 wins. I get that. Oregon doesn't have that many of them, but I just think the Pac-12, top to bottom, has been excellent this year. Arguably the best league in the country.
Yeah.
And they lost on a last-second miss, game-tying field goal. Alabama lost by double digits at home to Texas. And, if you look at Alabama's schedule, LSU probably their best win, right?
Probably.
Other than that,
Yeah, it's not.
what else they got? It's not that. They haven't played Georgia yet.
I think they beat, was it Ole Miss?
They did get Ole Miss.
They get Ole Miss. It's not a
It's not
murderer's
that
row.
much better in terms of resumes.
Yeah,
So, no,
they got Ole Miss, A&M, Tennessee, Kentucky.
yeah. So SEC wins, which are great. That's a great league.
Yeah.
But I think the Pac-12, again, you go back to the Oregon schedule. I think it's a little misleading. I think that Utah win was a really good win.
Yeah.
I think the pummeling Colorado when they did. Well, that's not that great of a win.
Yeah,
they
because
kind
they
of suck.
just kind of fell apart.
But
Unfortunately, the teams that Oregon beat at the time that we thought were going to be
USC.
good wins all kind of fell apart. Utah fell apart.
Yeah.
SC fell apart.
it is kind of hard.
Colorado fell apart.
It's kind of hard to.
There's not good wins.
to sort of prop up their resume.
No.
You're right. Colorado was 19th at the time,
But
but they
then-
kicked their ass.
Yep.
They lost the Washington game.
It's not-
Utah was 13th at the time. They kicked their ass. I still think that was a good win. USC they beat, but now the shine's off of them. And Oregon State with Jonathan Smith leaving, it's like,
The difference you can say is that
they're
have-
just rolling
They're
people.
rolling people.
They just
and they
look
the
good.
part.
Yeah, and the other thing about Oregon is they just have it at all levels. Like, find me a group on that team that's weak. I mean, they're deep.
Kicker.
They've got, yeah, I guess, but
I would not want this game to come any game to come down to a field goal right now.
He has missed a field goal in all of but one conference game this year.
He's kicking it out of bounds on kick. Yeah.
but
He's-
like if you're going down to kicker, that
That's where we're
proves
at.
my point.
Yep.
They're really good
Yes.
and they're really loaded, and they have the Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. So no, Alabama should not be ahead of Oregon. Although I would say one last thing before you move on, if look, the Oregon-Washington winner will be in the college football playoff. Okay, we need to stop with that worry that if Oregon wins, they don't get in. They will get in. If you wanted one thing to happen, to just be sure of that, you wanted Alabama to lose that game. Because Texas ain't jumping you. I don't care what anyone says. They've been behind you the whole time. They're not, even if they beat crappy-ass Oklahoma State handily, If you beat Washington, Texas is not jumping you to get into that playoff. It's just not happening. If Alabama beats Georgia, that one's like, ooh. So you wanted Alabama to not convert on that fourth and whatever it was goal from the 30.
And you're really,
and now you want to root for Georgia.
And you're really fortunate too that UW didn't screw the pooch in the Apple Cup, because you need that win, that marquee win. And if UW, the way they had looked, and lose to a crappy ass team like Washington State who's fell off, the national pundits would have just been like, well, there's another one. They don't have a single good win, and they would have downgraded UW. But UW pulled it out. And so if you do win that game, that's going to be your masterpiece. And to me, if you're Oregon, you can't just win that game. You're a 9.5-point favorite. You got to drill them. You got to drill them the way you've been drilling everyone else, and let it be known we are one of the best 4 teams in the country. I think style points matter in this game when you're looking at some of the other teams across the country, especially like if Alabama wins.
I saw a man that literally looked like he aged 10 years. And this is what happens when you make the wrong decision on the first pick.
Wow.
And you set your team back so much because it's clearly the wrong decision. This is a size speed league. Dan and we always talk about it. But this guy, because people can point to, well, Kyler Murray's small. No, he's not.
Short.
Kyler Murray is short. And here's the thing. How's it going to get better? It's not going to get better next year. You don't have no draft capital.
That is Rex Ryan, football analyst on ESPN's Get Up, and he's talking about the firing of Carolina Panthers coach Frank Reich. 1-10 in his first 11 games of his entire coaching career for the Panthers. He's done. Actually, I believe one of the first head coaches in 30 years to get fired consecutively in 2 seasons. So that's not a list that he wants to be on. But the argument here is that he wasn't the reason that they sucked so bad. Rex Ryan put it very bluntly that their first overall draft pick, Bryce Young, has been absolutely terrible for them. And not only that, but them going to get Bryce Young put them in a position where they have no assets in the future to get any other players around him. So do you guys buy or sell that Bryce Young deserves more blame for the Panthers' struggles than Frank Reich?
No. I think this is a across the board sort of thing. Their O-line is terrible. Bryce Young does look terrible. Frank Reich now, I mean, look, it's 2 years in a row he's been fired in the middle of a season. I mean, at some point you put the blame on him. I don't know if we've given Bryce Young a fair shot. So to say that it's a rookie's fault, 10, 11 games into the season? No, I'm not putting this on Bryce Young. But if you're a Panther fan, you're sweating bullets. This is a Zach Wilson holy crap, what did we do?
Who's a Panther fan?
Well, someone is.
Yeah, I don't know how you could blame a rookie quarterback over the coach. Now, so I sell it. Go back to what you said. What did you say something in there about how many coaches have been fired in consecutive?
He is like one of only 3 or 4. It has almost never happened. I gotta go get the rest of the list, but it's
I'd like to
very
hear
small.
that. Yeah, I forgot. He just got fired last year.
Yep.
And now he's fired again. I actually thought.
We thought he was.
I thought he was pretty good.
He had a good
At
reputation,
Indy.
but when you watch them play, and some of that is their O-line is atrocious, and there's no semblance of that offense. They don't have weapons on the outside. I don't know how fair it is to blame Bryce Young, but when you watch them play, and I don't know if you do, I generally feel bad for him.
I've seen him.
He doesn't have a chance.
No.
So
Who the hell are you?
All right, I'll try to find that and come back with it after in the news. But
okay, buddy,
we're running out of time, so I'm just gonna say buy or sell, guys. The Mariners' offseason is already a failure. Buy or sell.
Sell. Come on, it's
sucked.
early.
But they
stop being such a fan.
Calm
They're
down.
supposed to come out.
Calm down.
You're Schultze. Damn it.
They traded a nice young reliever for a piece that they didn't have to give anybody up for. The Red Sox were going to get rid of this infielder, Luis Urias, and then all of a sudden...
Hold on! Tell people what they have done so far.
All right, so the Seattle Mariners have let Teoscar Hernandez go. They have traded Eugenio Suarez, their starting third baseman, for a reliever and a backup catcher. And they have traded for a really crappy third baseman and giving up a young, good, controllable arm for the next 6 years for that guy. Somebody that they could have just gotten after the Red Sox were going to non-tender him and let him go to free agency. They have not been in on Ohtani. They are probably not going to be in on Ohtani. The best I've heard is rumors around a Juan Soto trade. So there you go.
Ooh, Juan Soto.
Yeah.
Ohtani. Yeah. Are you going to be saying this when they get Juan Soto?
They need
Give them time.
If they got 3 other pieces besides Juan Soto, yeah, I'll be happy. But if it's just Juan Soto, they're screwed.
How do you know they're not in on Ohtani?
Because their general speak around after the GM meetings in Arizona a couple weeks ago was that the Mariners were not going to be pursuing him. It is not within their plans.
They can't afford him.
Can't afford it.
They're cheap bastards.
$400+ million. Yeah, Schulte, you're a full-on Mariner fan. Like,
Damn right.
Yeah, calm down.
There hasn't been really any big major moves across baseball. And like I saw
Except
a
for
list.
Sonny Gray.
Aaron Nola, yeah.
I saw a list of like 15 guys that could be traded or that are on the block, and some of them are very big names, including some good bats. So just
The action is still to come.
give it some
Trust
time.
in 54%? 56%?
54, right?
50, trust in 54%, Schulte.
That's right, baby.
I
God.
won't. I
It's gonna
won't.
be okay, Schulte.
Schulte's already panicked.
Well, he's got double
it's not even
Mariner gear
December.
on right now. I know he's sweating.
Good grief.
All right.
All right, the Stock Watch each Monday is brought to you by Goldberg Jones. When it comes to divorce, custody, or child support issues, trust Goldberg Jones to help. Call 1-800-DIVORCE. Phone questions answered at no charge. In the news is next. Here's Schulte.
Now, from the Spirit Mountain Casino Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
First on the Fan, Week 12 of the NFL wrapping up tonight. Monday Night Football happening with the Bears visiting the Vikings. No Justin Jefferson, though he is out, still recovering from that injured hamstring. Minnesota, a 3-point favorite, kickoff at 5:15 on ABC and ESPN. The Carolina Panthers firing head coach Frank Reich after he went 1-10 in his first 11 games. Special teams coordinator Chris Tabor being named the interim. He reportedly immediately fired quarterbacks coach Josh McCown and running backs coach Deuce Staley. Moving on to the NBA, the Blazers back in action tonight. They blew a 26-point lead in Milwaukee against Damian Lillard, and the Bucks yesterday did suffer the loss, but right now at the end of the first quarter, they lead the Indiana Pacers 30-24. So far, it looks like leading your Blazers scoring-wise, DeAndre Ayton with 12 points. Not too shabby. Jeremy Grant following up with 9 behind him. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Schulte from the Spirit Mountain Casino Sports Desk. Get in the game at Spirit Mountain Casino. Watch and wager on all the pro and college action. Learn more at spiritmountain.com.
Your favorite fan shows are on YouTube. Mash the subscribe button and like us for live streaming video and 1080 The Fan on demand.
Leif's has been Portland's #1 choice for decades.
Hey, we're running behind. It's Monday, though. And we're always behind on Monday. So it is November 27, 2023. It's time now for In the News. I'm your noted newsman. Hello. Thank you. Cyber Monday.
Yeah, haven't bought a thing.
Me neither.
But, I mean, go for it. I saw on MSN they were saying that Black Friday, strong numbers, which is good.
There was a $228 65-inch TV at Walmart. I did get it on
there you
Black
go.
Friday. The sound quality, even with our sound bar, is terrible.
No good?
Yeah, no good.
200, wait, what? 65 inches, 200 and what?
Yeah, $228. So, yeah,
Damn, dude.
Under 230. I mean, yeah, it's like, that's a score.
Was it like a Fujiyama, like something you've never heard of?
Like a TCL.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Westinghouse, Fujiyama. Yeah.
Yes. Spent a couple extra bucks to get the LG, the Samsung.
I think
I'll tell
after
you
this
what.
year, I'm gonna. That's what I learned.
Can I just say there's something very satisfying about getting a new TV for that little.
Sure.
That is really, really, really satisfying.
TVs might be the one thing that have come down over the last 10 years more than.
It just feels
than
like they
anything
should
else.
be way more expensive.
Yeah.
And
but
they're just not.
They're not.
Thank God. Dude.
And you can buy like one of the really nice ones, like 70 inches. You can get them for like 2,800, under $3,000 for like a giant, like unbelievable. I remember buying like my first like 50-inch like plasma and it being that much and being like, oh my God. And now they're giving them away.
It's also National Pie in the Face Day. Have you ever had a pie in the face?
Can't say I ever have. I think
But
I'd
like
be
a
upset.
clown?
I'd be upset if someone put a pie in my face. I'd be like, well, is there another pie? I'd be more upset about, like, you can put a pie in my face as long as there's a second pie.
Well, you get to eat the stuff on your face, though.
Yeah, but that's not
Yeah,
then
yeah.
I'm just eating beard pie. I don't want
That's
beard
good.
pie. No, it's not.
It's your own beard. You eat stuff out of your beard all the time.
That is true, but still, pie me all you want. You better have a backup pie that I can eat.
Nearly 4 full weeks into a teacher strike, it is over.
Thank God.
Ladies and gentlemen, the little S-head kids at Portland Public Schools are back in school today,
All right.
spreading all their germs to each other. Yeah, it's over. Classes resumed. Educators from across the district's 81 schools began the strike on November 1st, citing a laundry list of demands that went unresolved in negotiations.
So are we going to cancel winter break since they just had a month, or what are they
I
going to do?
think
Yeah, we never got an answer on that, did we?
they're trying to figure all that out.
Yeah.
This went a while.
Well, I'll tell you what, you little snot-nosed kids, if you bitch and moan about not having a winter break, you just got a month off.
Oh, totally. Like,
Yeah.
they should be.
Yeah, and by the way, when you come back around Christmas, the teachers will do nothing, so you can just sleepwalk your way through that, and then you still get your full summer.
I will say, I think the winter break is not only, I don't know, the timing of it might mess with the parents' schedules. I bet you that parents, they usually are happy when their kids go back to school, but having them home for the month of November as opposed to December, now they've got to change their plans. I bet you they're going to give them a week off just to keep the parents, ability to keep their holiday plans up, a little smoother than it would be.
Yeah, you got to give them the holidays, or else you're the Grinch.
Oh, yeah.
I'd take it from them. Screw them.
This says parents and students have expressed concern that students will be unprepared for final exams after missing close to a month of school. There will be 11 makeup days for lost learning. 5 will take place in December, cutting into the start of winter break. 3 more will be added throughout January, February, and April, and the final 3 makeup instructional days will take place at the end of the school year in June.
So a shortened winter break.
Yeah, so they're stretching it out. Yeah, they're making them do 5 extra days in December.
All right.
But
By the way, anytime you add on days, trust me, no work gets done anyway. So those are all basically free days for you anyways. No one's doing any work.
the kids scored here.
Exactly.
All right.
Except that, you didn't learn anything, and that's the whole point of going to school. But.
Oh, they don't care. they won't know how dumb they are
you
later
should
in life.
probably figure that out.
Let's talk about stolen pickups on golf courses.
Let's.
Want to do that?
I didn't know you could drive a pickup to be stolen on a golf course, but
Why not?
it's a first for everything.
That's how you evade police.
Yeah, although
Where are they going to find you on the golf course?
it'd be easy to spot you there. It's like the jerk. If you see a large church being pulled by a two-door sedan, that's probably them, Mrs. Nussbaum.
That story next. 446 on the Fan.
Down goes Danny.
No Danny Moran.
Going on. I've got news of a golf course
hijinks? Grand theft? Is grand theft hijinks?
Grand theft can
How
happen
about
on a
this?
golf course?
Golf course hazards.
There you go.
See what I did there?
I like it.
There was a man driving a stolen pickup, and he tried to escape police by driving on a golf course in Northeast Portland. This was last weekend.
Is that play it as it lies? Like, what happens if,
I think it's a movable obstruction.
You're in there, you're in the fairway, or what if you end up in some tire, tracks, though?
Ooh, yeah.
Well, I don't know how all
Ground
that...
under repair?
Yeah, I don't know how that works. Never had it happen to me.
It was a white Toyota Tacoma. Officers started chasing it, where it led them to, this was in North Portland, it led them to Glendevere Golf Course.
Oh.
You played there.
That was the first place I ever played golf with my old man was Glendevere.
Yeah?
Yeah.
He was a marshal out there, wasn't he?
That was my other dad. But yeah, I think my dad's, my real dad has marshaled lots of different places. But yeah, my late father, he used to take me out when I was little, and that's where we'd go play. We'd go knocking around Glendevere.
Officers started chasing, and then after driving across the course, Portland Police Bureau air support video shows the guy get out of the vehicle and try to change his clothes. He was ultimately, shockingly, arrested.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Can't do that.
No,
yeah.
I can't do that. That's a no-no.
The pursuit was during a stolen vehicle operation, where officers say they captured 11 stolen vehicles.
Can I just chime in there and say that it is hilarious to me when an idiot local criminal tries to act like Ben Affleck pulling off like a bank heist or something, changing his outfit, grabbing a uniform, and evading cops. It's like, no, that's not going to work for you.
No, but
dumbass.
look, you got to appreciate the effort. I mean, look, I've never tried to lamb or anything, but if I was going to, I would think the first thing I would do is shave my beard, right?
Well, why?
Yeah.
To your point, why would you go? But you're gonna shave it right there in front of them. He's changing in front of them. They're pursuing him.
Yeah.
And he's driving down the 18th fairway.
Yeah.
Why are you there? Try
tough.
to get lost in a neighborhood or something, and then you can run and jump a couple fences, and maybe they can't find you.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Talk about the missteps of a moron. God.
Well, I mean,
And then he's like, you know what I got to do? You know what's gonna get me out of this? I'm gonna change my clothes.
I will say that car thieves maybe not, it's not all gone in 60 seconds. I'm guessing that, not the brightest of groups, but I'm not here to blanket all car thieves. Maybe some of them are Mensa guys. I don't know. I've never tried stealing a car. Maybe it's harder than you think.
Car thieves have bad games.
Yeah. Like in the post-game press conference, he's like, it was a poor mistake.
Made a lot of bad decisions.
Yeah,
out there.
I gotta, we didn't stick to the game plan, and we got caught up in the heat of the moment.
What else do I have for you? One other local notable notation of note.
I like a good notable notation.
LaRogue Brothers Jewelers is
I
closed.
saw that 100+ years, huh?
Yes, they are closing their doors after 113 years.
Yeah.
Well-known jeweler here in town. They will be shutting their doors for good. Founded by Granddaddy.
Yeah, they kept it in the family this entire time.
It's kind of tough. I mean, I feel like there's the national ones everybody knows about. Every kiss begins with K. And then where I bought my engagement rings from Shane Company.
Yeah.
Who advertises on
Now
the station.
you have a friend in the diamond business.
Exactly.
Isn't that Shane
Yeah,
Company?
Tom
Yeah.
Shane. Yeah, Tom.
Tom
I'm
Shane.
Tom Shane. Weekdays till 8.
You have a friend.
Saturdays and Sundays till 5. Online at ShaneCo.
Oh, I'm old enough. I remember when they added that. They used to just list the store hours.
Now
Then,
wait, wasn't Shane Company from Seattle?
I don't know.
I think he was from Seattle.
That or Denver, Colorado. I know he's got 8 or 9, places all around the U.S.
Well, the granddaddy started it. He was from Russia. He was an immigrant from Russia 113 years ago.
That's awesome.
And the kids are still there. In their announcement, they just said, Father Time has caught up with us, but it's been an incredible journey, and we thank you for 113 sparkling years. The going out of business sale at both the Clackamas and Tigard locations began this past Friday, Black Friday.
And they're clearing everything out. So this is when this is going to be the classic. Up to 90% off, but then you go in and anything that's worth anything is 8% off.
Yeah, see, what are they? Are there actually good deals on stuff to be had, or they're selling all the good stuff to actual other jewelers, making some money?
Or do you wait them out?
Here's a $10 earring.
I think if you're waiting to get I don't think they're selling something really nice for 70% off. I don't think that happens.
Well, they should.
I don't think that's the way those work. That's why they always get you with the up to 70% off, and it's 3 things that are 70% off.
Yeah, have you walked into the end of like a Sears store, Rob, and seen basically 10-year-old bed sheets 90% off and nothing else available?
Let me just say this. If you're doing a Black Friday,
90%
Cyber Monday, going out of business sale, and you hit me with 20%, you get your ass out of here. You don't even get my attention
that's
till you
right.
get to 40.
I
At
agree.
40 now, we've got some interest.
But Schulte's saying 90% off bed sheets. I'm in.
they're not good bed sheets.
Of course, I haven't been to Sears in a while.
Those aren't going to be good bed sheets.
Is Sears still a thing? Are they still
No,
open?
Sears
Don't
is
think
done.
so.
They're done?
I think they're done.
Yeah.
There may be like 1 or 2 that are like still around, like close, but no, Sears is shut down. Sears, Kmart, Bed Bath & Beyond, bunch of those.
Bed Bath & Beyond is done?
Done.
Overstock.com
Really?
bought all of the IP for Bed Bath & Beyond. So if you go bedbathandbeyond.com, it's overstock.com, but now it's Bed Bath & Beyond.
Hey, you know what store I set foot in for the first time ever? A big chain store.
I'm intrigued.
First time
Burlington?
ever recently. What?
I'm gonna guess Burlington.
I will
Go
tell
for it.
you right
No,
now.
I've been to Burlington.
Oh, I was going to say, under no circumstances could I see you in a Burlington coat
No,
factory.
in Midwest it was a deal.
Yeah.
And when you don't have any money, that's where you used to buy suits.
Yeah,
Because they'd give you you'd buy one and they'd give you another one for free.
sure.
So you'd pay like $200 for a couple of suits back in the day.
And it was like a name brand, but it was like 17 things that were wrong with it. And you're
I
like,
don't know.
it'll be fine. I'll
Look,
get this tailored up.
We had limited. That's the thing. That's what they get you in the Midwest. You have
Sure.
limited options.
Yeah.
It's like I better go there.
I have bought a suit at
I
the
saw the
Burlington.
guy with the beard on the commercial.
Yeah.
Tell me. So
Well,
I've been there. The store that I went into recently was Crate and Barrel. Had never been into a Crate and Barrel.
Oh.
And I went in there, and let me tell you something.
Did you love it?
No, can I just say, and maybe this is like
Oh, boy.
old grandpa catching up here.
Yes, be careful.
Well, no, are they a sponsor?
I don't know, but go for it. Just, if you don't know, Crate and Barrel is a furniture store, by the way.
Yeah.
Think like Pottery Barn.
Yeah, it's like a Pottery Barn. I didn't know that. I thought it was more like a storage type of thing.
You thought Crate and Barrel was a store? You just go in
like
there and
crates
Crate
and
and
barrels.
Barrel.
you put something in a barrel?
Yeah, crates and barrels. Yeah,
Really? All right.
yeah. And I've driven by them before where it looks like they have like those big storage containers.
Yeah, there's
Anyway,
one. There's one out in like Tannersborn, or not Tannersborn, but the one right off I-5.
It's Bridgeport
Bridgeport
Village.
Village.
There
Yeah,
you go.
that's where I was.
Oh, there
I
you
went
go.
in there.
Yeah.
And boy, is that place overpriced. Get out of here, Crate and Barrel.
If you ever
God.
want to go in and think about buying like a wooden cutting board or
Yeah.
like a centerpiece for a coffee table and have it be $700, I give you Crate and Barrel.
Yeah, so you know of this
I'm
racket that
I am well
I'm
familiar.
exposing the Crate and Barrel racket. No one has ever exposed this before. I'm the first.
Years ago.
No, I went in there looking for. We just needed some curtain panels,
Sure.
and I just I just need something straight off the rack, man. I don't need this custom bullsh.
Yeah.
Oh my God, they wanted hundreds.
Years ago when I went to buy furniture, I was just like, I'll just like shop around, and I happened to drive into a Crate and Barrel, and I had to do I really like this and that, and the lady's like, I'll put together and it didn't have a price tag on it.
Yeah.
It's just like, I'll put together like a little price tag, you get more if you. I'm like, yeah, I'm looking for a whole dining room or a living room set and then maybe some dining room stuff. And then when she gave me like the slip with everything on it, I had to do this is very reasonable.
I'll get back to you.
And I'll get back, and inside of my head, I'm like, whoa, we're in the wrong place.
Yeah.
I can't afford a thing, let alone a group here. So
Dude,
I'll
I
just,
didn't know it was so high end over
Yeah.
there in Crate and Barrel.
Yeah, Crate and Barrels.
And the
where-
lady knew it too. She goes, "Can I help you with anything?" I'm like, "Yeah, wait. Are you saying that's the price for one panel?" She's like, "Oh yes, that's one panel." I said, "Have a nice day."
It's where
She
fancy.
knew it.
It's
She
where
was like-
fancy white women go to buy furniture,
Totally.
and not you.
I tell you what, there were a lot of fancy white women in there.
Yeah.
And I mean a lot.
Sure.
Like if you want a MILF,
Yeah.
forget the bar. No. Go into Crate and Barrel.
Crate and Barrel. Yeah, just look for the divorcee or someone that hates her husband, but you're gonna see
She's
a
in
lot.
there spending his money.
Yeah, a lot of artificial up tops, a lot of very, very big jewelry. Some like this time of the year, probably some hunter boots with like a nice Louis purse.
Maybe
Maybe a big fur coat.
Yeah, possibly a Han Solo vest. That sort of archetype. Yeah, they live for the Crate and Barrel.
Well, I just discovered it for the first time in
Well, I'm sorry.
my life.
Well, just know that you.
I don't need Crate and Barrel in my life.
No, you are not meant for Crate and Barrel. Nor am I, and it's above. It's not. That's not radio. That's like Colin Cowherd. He shops at Crate and Barrel.
Or his wife does.
There you go.
All right, guys, we got to run. We're running behind again. The Hot 5 at 5 is next. Who are the lead candidates for the Oregon State job? Next on The Fan.
If you've been arrested for a DUI, call the Reynolds Defense Firm. This is McDaniel Reynolds with the Reynolds Defense Firm, and we specialize in just one
Fan.
All right. Welcome back. Hope you're having a nice, juicy, sexy little Monday. And you had a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Hope so. I'm sure some people out there had a miserable one, but
Mine was pretty miserable. I was in bed all day.
Yeah,
Did you-
Schulte was sick.
you had the trots too?
Not the trots. I'm still trying to get over a cold. I'm like, I think I would have preferred that. I've been in like a daze of, Dayquil and NyQuil, and just I feel like I've had a fever, but I don't. So it's just been a fun, delirious feeling the last 3-4 days.
Just take all the drugs, man, when that happens.
Oh, I am.
Yeah.
I am.
It's the way to do it. I take a strict drug regimen anytime I'm remotely ill. I go right to it. Just pass out, hibernate.
Coming up here this hour, we will talk about Ducks-Huskies redo.
9.5.
That's the spread.
Yeah. That tells you what Vegas thinks.
Yeah. Some Civil War leftovers. We have, we have so much to get to still here. I've got the college football turkey trundle that included another Iowa under hitting.
When are you going to jump on board, baby? When?
I'm pretty stubborn.
4 weeks in a row. Although, I don't know. This is all bets are off in the Big Ten title game.
What's the over-under?
I got to look. But that one scares me because, Penn State blew them out 31-0. But,
Michigan's awful good.
I know. But I'm telling you, I haven't had this much fun arbitrarily betting something since Ravens preseason football. I can't stop watching Iowa football. In fact, I'm pissed that they're firing their OC because it robs me of my opportunity to carry this into next season. I may take the under in the Michigan game just for the hell of it.
We spoke a lot. As a matter of fact, pretty much our whole first hour was about Oregon State and what's going on with them and Jonathan Smith. If you miss any of the fan, you can get it on demand via the Service Patriots podcast. Service Patriots is your home comfort solution for all of your heating and air conditioning needs. Check out the latest special offers for our listeners at servicepatriots.com/thefan.
By the way, so Michigan's favored by 23 points, if that gives you any idea. This can't have ever been a thing. They're favored by 23. The over-under on the game, 35.
Wow.
So it just wrap your head around that.
That screams take Iowa and the points.
Yes.
If they're given 23 of the 35 points that they think are going to be scored to, that's the weirdest set of lines I've ever seen.
That being said, when they played again,
by the way, I will not take
when Iowa played Penn State, they lost 31-0. So I think the correct play here is simply
Michigan in the under?
The under.
Can you play Michigan minus 23 and an under of 35?
Watch me. Why? I've got money sitting around from my 4 straight Iowa unders. Why not?
God.
I'm loading up. Let's go.
Coming up tonight in the club, Baja Blast has a new meaning.
My son and daughter used to work at Taco Bell, and they swear that the most redeemable thing at Taco Bell is the Baja Blast.
Oh, redeemable.
Yes.
Okay, so it's actually good?
They loved the Baja Blast.
Okay. Well, it's got a new meaning.
Yeah.
But right now, the hot 5 at 5.
Hot topics, hot opinions,
Oh, golly, I'm hot today.
and hot air. It's time for the Hot 5 at 5.
That's hot.
The Hot 5 at 5 on Primetime with Isaac and Sue.
No, I mean it. That's very hot.
The Hot 5 at 5 with Isaac and Sue. Brought to you on the Fan by Victorico's Mexican Food, the most popular burrito spot in Oregon. Online at victoricos.com. Number 5.
Well, no rest for the weary. Fresh off blowing a 26-point lead in Milwaukee, the Blazers are back at it. They are now in Indiana taking on the mighty Pacers. And nearing halftime.
Yeah, don't look now. It is officially at the half, and the Blazers 65-60 at the half.
They have the lead. Look at that.
Yeah.
It looks like Malcolm Brogdon has 15. DeAndre Ayton is 7 of 10 with 14. And Jeremy Grant with 13. Excuse me.
You all right? Hold on. Your man Reith, he's got 4 big points.
Doo-wop, no threes yet, though, right?
No. Oh, nope. 1 for 1. Check that. And more importantly, did you see who's back on the remix?
No.
You're not up on your remix news? I thought you were all about the remix.
I've been busy.
They sent Scoot back down?
No, but they should. He's terrible right now. Although he had a nice game against Milwaukee, by far his best. I think he scored 11 points. Mo Harkless of the Rip City remix.
Are you serious?
Hell yeah.
What? Are you kidding?
No.
Why is he there?
I think when they brought him on board, and then they'll go down and see if he can play it all and bring him back up.
Well, I got to tell you guys, my favorite new Blazers era, my two favorite players, Malcolm Brogdon and Matisse Thybulle.
What? What
It
about?
is the Thybulle-Brogdon era. The era has become.
I thought you'd be excited about Mo Harkless to the remix.
I liked Harkless. I didn't think he was bad.
The era has become.
I thought
I
I
also
was.
didn't think he was great.
No, he is only on the remix.
Nice little player. The St. Louis Cardinals of baseball signed free agent starting pitcher Sonny Gray, 3 years, $75 million, most recently with the Twins. So he'll join Kyle Gibson and Lance Lynn in the revamped Cards rotation.
Somewhere Schultz is still livid because the Mariners have yet to do anything. He was lamenting to us during the break how the Mariners season is already over. The offseason is already a giant failure.
I'm pretty mad.
Even though there's like 2 players that have signed.
I'm pretty mad.
There's been no indication that they're coming out fireworks, guns a-blazing. That's what they need to do. I digress.
The other guy that signed today, I know you're waiting to find out where Kenta Maeda would go.
Please tell me.
He's going to the Tigers, where careers go to die.
Why? Why is he? I mean, money, obviously, but like, why did they even need to sign a starting pitcher?
Well, I don't know if you know this about baseball, but you do need
Somebody
guys.
to pitch.
You do need someone to pitch.
Yeah.
You
They
can't
have
just
pitchers in Detroit too, Schultz.
you can't just break out the old jugs machine.
Double
out
A,
there
triple A guys, whatever. You don't
Throw 'em
have
out
to pay
there.
him 24 mil.
Oregon up one spot to 5th in the AP top 25 this week. They pass Ohio State. The college football playoff rankings will be out tomorrow. The Ducks open as almost a 9-point favorite in the Pac-12 title game against number 3 Washington.
I've seen it 9.5 at places.
That game will be here on the Fan Friday. That game will also go a long way in determining the Heisman winner. Voting for the Heisman ends, and the finalists will be announced 1 week from Dizzle.
Yeah, they said today the ballots went out. So if you're a Heisman voter, you have them, but you don't have to cast it. And hopefully people stick around and watch Bo play. Not sure how many people on a national basis have seen him play. And no offense to Jaden Daniels, but dude, Bo Nix is your Heisman Trophy winner. Just Penix, to me, isn't even in consideration anymore.
Frank Reich has been fired by the Carolina Panthers after a 1-10 start. The Seahawks OC Shane Waldron is among the candidates to replace him.
Yeah, turns out everyone that loved Frank Reich, he's been fired now 2 years in a row mid-season. That's going to be a blemish on the old
Did you
CV.
ever, Schultz, did you ever find that list?
I was trying to. No, I ADHD'd myself. Let me go back and look at the article again. Sorry.
Schultz all over it today.
Yeah, it's a rough go. And if you've seen Carolina's offense, and more importantly, if you've seen Bryce Young, yikes. I don't know whose fault that is. Maybe Bryce can't play. Maybe it's Frank. They don't have an O-line. They don't have playmakers. But I feel bad for him watching him play. He has no chance out there.
Yeah, they're hard to watch.
Yes.
You shouldn't watch them.
I find myself checking it out just because I want to see Bryce Young, and it's not good. Considering they moved up to get him and gave up their best receiver. Chicago's sitting around smiling right now because they get Carolina's pick.
Well, and their coach, Frank Welder, ex-coach, didn't actually want Bryce Young. It was known that he wanted C.J. Stroud, and at this point, he looks like the correct one.
Yeah, you knew Reich was going down when, didn't he talk about the owner meddling?
Yeah, he said early on they would have weekly meetings to discuss things, and he was like, no, it's great to have an owner with such input. Fired.
2 top candidates are emerging to replace Jonathan Smith at Oregon State. If you didn't know, he took the Michigan State job. Linebackers coach Trent Bray, of course, the former Beaver linebacker, and former Beavers offensive coordinator under Mike Riley and former Wisconsin head coach Paul Christ. He's most recently been an analyst at Texas.
Yeah, and he did a really nice job at Wisconsin. People look at it. This was his time in Wisconsin. He went 10-3, 11-3, 13-1, 8-5, 10-4, and then they had the 4-3 year, 9-4, and then 2-3, and they canned him. I know everyone wants Bray. There's a hashtag with a bunch of the players play for Bray. So I get why people are going down the younger coach and legacy there. His dad coached there. He played there, but especially with this being such a big hire, I kind of like the idea of having someone that's been around the block a little bit to kind of usher you through these next couple seasons because it's going to be a rough go. So we'll see what happens, but it feels like I was listening to Angie Machado, who was on with Dirt and Sprague, and she was hearing that that Bray is the front runner in all this. But they got to do something soon because transfer portal December 4th.
As for the transfer portal, you have 3 quarterbacks going in today. Texas Tech's Tyler Shuck, Kansas State's Will Howard, and Mississippi State's Will Rogers.
And by the way, Jeff Libby, who's the
Lebby.
What did I say? Libby? Jeff Lebby. He was the Bryles' son-in-law. He's the new coach in Mississippi State. He was photographed today walking around Starksville with Arch Manning.
Well, my.
So there you go.
Nice. All right, Victorico's Mexican Food, the most popular burrito spot in Oregon. Order now at victoricos.com. Ducks, Huskies, next on The Fan.
Oregon Ducks football is on The Fan.
Here's third down at the 17-yard line, 3rd and goal. Snap and Bo back to throw. Going to go fade route for Tez. He's got it, and he scores! Tez Johnson!
Ducks football is brought to you by Zoom Care, Encore Audio Video, Victorico's Mexican Food, Grillworks Supply Company, and by Langdon Farms Golf Club. The Ducks play here on the Odyssey app and 1080. The Fan.
Now, here's a quick look at Portland traffic.
these two teams were careening toward this for several weeks, and it worked out. Washington will play Oregon in the Pac-12 championship game on Friday. Man, juicy stuff. The Huskies.
Well, I mean, they're here.
Somebody please tell me what Washington fan feels about this team. Undefeated season.
Yeah.
But like cardiac kids, right? They have to be giving them heart attacks.
Yeah. So I'm friends with a couple diehard Huskies, and I will say that they are thoroughly enjoying it. No team in the Pac-12 has ever gone undefeated. Washington's the first. And so I think they're, from my understanding, they're holding on to the idea of maybe this is team of destiny type stuff, kind of TCU. You just find a way to do it. And even though it's not pretty, but I think deep down, every Washington fan is terrified of what's coming this week. And outside of some false bravado, I think they know deep down what their mind is telling them that this is going to be. But at the same time, they've won 2 years in a row. They beat them at Oregon. They beat them at UW. And they keep finding ways to win. And, you know, people said this last year with TCU, that like when they played Michigan, like, oh, well, you know, now you're going to get drilled. And finally, you know, you don't look that good. You lost to Kansas State. And, you know, sometimes funky stuff happens. And as good as Oregon has looked, you know, what were we saying just a week ago against Oregon State? You know, they've yet to win some of these big crucial games, and they blew out Oregon State. Weird things happen in rivalry games. Weird things happen championship week.
I don't know why anybody wouldn't think it would be a good game. I mean,
well, Vegas doesn't.
Well, 9 is not that
9.5?
Well, I know, but it's not that big.
It's pretty big.
I mean, it's big for Oregon, Washington, considering how close their games have been the last
couple
years.
Think about this. That's a 12-0 team. 12-0.
Yeah.
First one ever. The number 3 team in the country that just got done beating you already in the regular season, and you're a 9.5 point favorite?
Look, I
Trust
get
me,
it.
everyone thinks the same thing here.
Well, I don't. I'm not everyone. I'm no sheep.
Are you going to take UW in the points?
No, probably not.
Yeah.
I don't know. Although I will say, I have a fun Dan Lanning fact for you. Talking with his helmet out there. I looked this up because I just kept cashing, you know, tickets.
Yeah.
On the Ducks. He is, you know what his record is against the spread at Oregon since the Georgia loss?
What do you got?
17-6-1.
It's pretty tasty.
Dan Lanning. And that's why see these numbers, the numbers are high because Oregon is kicking everyone's ass. And
Sure.
it's almost like they can't make these numbers high enough because people are just going to keep betting Oregon.
Well, they should.
And that was true. I mean, the Oregon State game, the number was 14. And we thought, wow, that's enormous. Well, they covered that one. So, so these numbers keep going higher until they get a recalibration. And this don't act like this could not be the recalibration. I mean, some of this, I get it. Washington is weird. This is a strange undefeated team. But my God, that's a damn good football team.
Yep.
They find ways to win games. They're in every game. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility at all that this is another field goal or touchdown game. I mean, 9 is not it's a huge number comparatively, but it's not a huge number in the grand scheme of things. So I just think what's weird about this is how these two teams have gone about their business since they played. I mean, think back to that game where they played. We thought, oh, these two teams are neck and neck, right?
Yep.
And they were. They played to a field goal, a missed field goal to tie the game at the end. Another 3-point difference. It's like, man, these two teams are the same team. Right. Okay. 5 games have happened since.
6, I think.
6 games have happened since. 5 of them were against common opponents. Okay. Mm-hmm. Arizona State, Oregon State, USC, Utah, and Washington. And these numbers come courtesy of our dear P1 show contributor, P1 Scott.
Okay.
The Ducks have outscored the common 5 opponents by 112 points.
Ooh.
The Huskies have outscored those same 5 opponents by 30 points.
Yeah.
The Ducks have rushed for 783 yards and passed for another almost 1,800 yards. They've given up 393 yards rushing and only 1,300 yards passing. That is a positive yard differential of plus 862. The Huskies, again, this is against the same 5 teams, a negative differential of minus 41 yards. They were outgained, the Huskies, by those 5 teams combined.
I can't make a single argument. And again, I'll say it at the start of the year. I said Oregon UW in the Pac-12 title game had UW winning the whole thing. And even up until they went and played, I picked UW in that game. I can't make a football argument. I can't sit here and give you one thing and put on my football brain, and having watched every UW game and having watched every Oregon game this year, I can't give you a single argument why UW will win this game. Not a single one.
And yet they've beat them
2 years in a
row.
row. But I look back, so 6 weeks after they played Oregon. And by the way, I still contend that when this season's over, we will find out that Michael Penix has something seriously wrong with him. And maybe I'm out in left field, but I talked about this earlier. Penix in his first 6 games, 72%, 2,300 yards, 20 touchdowns, 3 picks, and 190 passer rating. And that includes the Oregon game, where in the second half, he didn't look the same. He got hit in the in the ribs, sternum, somewhere in there. He went into the medical tent, came out, didn't look good for a couple series, and then they had the one at the end where he made the play to Adunze, and thanks for coming. Since then, he is completing 59% of his passes for only 1,500 yards, 12 touchdowns, and 5 picks. He's not the same quarterback. And by the way, I actually think their run game, and by the way, they're really beat up too. Their running back is beat up. Their defense is beat up. Their D-line, ZTF went out. Their big nose tackle, 91, who's an absolute beast. He's been in and out of the lineup. They're kind of doing the attrition thing, and I think this is kind of what happened with Oregon State. I think Oregon State wore down. I don't think they had enough bodies. Oregon is deep and can cycle through guys. So I think Washington is beat up. Penix doesn't look the same, and I contend that when this season's over, we're going to find out something is wrong with him. I don't buy he was so emotional that he put his head inside the trunk and couldn't watch, and then afterwards someone protected him so no one got around him, and they put a jacket over him and walked him out. No celebrating, no high fives, nothing from his teammates. And then afterwards in his press conference, when someone asked him about getting hit real hard by I think it was Ron Stone, taking a bad shot, and did that affect you? He's like, what are you talking about? I never got hit hard. Was very defensive about even acknowledging that he got hit. Something's going on. And so when you look at that, I actually think their run game is improved. Their defense is playing timely, but still, they squeaked by Arizona State. Very lucky. Stanford. If Stanford makes a play or two, remember, Stanford was driving, and then they had the penalty. Like, Stanford could have closed out that game, right? And we know the USC game was bananas. Utah, right down to the end. Oregon State, right down to the end. And Washington State, right down to the end. They haven't looked good in one game in 6 weeks. In fact, the only 2 games that their offense looked good are probably Stanford and SC. Those are the only 2 games. And by the way, we look at those 2 defenses, they're god-awful. So when I look at a beat-up team physically across the board, possibly with a quarterback who hasn't played good in 6 weeks, that are finding ways to win, and God bless them, that is a uber-talented team. And I still think championship games are done. They already beat them once. I get the argument that Washington should be in regardless because of what they've done during the regular season. But I can't sit here and tell you where I think they have an advantage other than Washington's receivers are better than Oregon's DBs. They proved it in the first game. They're better. But if Penix can't get him the ball, and when you watch him throw, he is not on time. He's not on rhythm. The mechanics are funky, and he's not being accurate with the ball. He just isn't. And by the way, this is with an improved run game and an O-line that's playing lights out. They're giving him all kinds of time, and he's still not accurate with the ball. So I don't know where I look at this other than saying UW has beat him 2 years in a row, and maybe this is just a tough matchup for Oregon. But from an X's and O's standpoint, I can't give you one single matchup outside of, again, it's a lie. The one I'll give you is their receivers.
That's a big one.
But you got to get someone that gets them the ball. And right now, Penix is not doing that at a good clip.
Their offense is down to 9th. I remember when they played originally, it was the best offense in the country.
It was.
It's down to 9th statistically. Oregon's is up to 3rd.
Yeah.
So Oregon actually has the better offense now.
Watch when Penix throws. Watch how many balls are – go back and watch the last 3 or 4 games and watch how many are actual good throws.
No, he's throwing a lot more ducks now.
It doesn't look good. Against Washington State, the last drive that they had, 2 of those balls should have been intercepted. They just should have.
Yeah, he's hurt.
Something's wrong. And luckily with Polk, Odunze and Franklin, this is a whole other conversation. As good as Marvin Harrison Jr. is, I'm not taking anything away from him. Troy Franklin and Odunze are as good as anyone in the country. Those guys are absolute beasts. And right now, Washington's offense is to just throw it to Odunze and let him go make plays. We also forget that they were one weird reverse play to Odunze from losing the game to Washington State, which, by the way, apparently that was an option play. Penix made the read and decided to flip that reverse to him on a little fly sweep. Freaking incredible. But right now, they are living on the back of Polk and Odunze, and it's not Penix. It's not, and Dylan Johnson has been huge from, and he's beat up now with a bad foot.
It was a ballsy call there by Kalen DeBoer.
And meanwhile, Oregon just is steamrolling people. I honestly think right now, if you had to ask me, and I can't believe I'm saying this, I would have never thought I'd be saying it this time of the year. I think Oregon blows them out. I think they get rolled.
All right. Well, the game will be on the Fan on Friday.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know that. We have the game right here.
Yeah, know us.
I'll have the postgame show, though.
Oh, cool. Schultze will be on the postgame. You know, like if there's ever a time to preempt us, it would be that.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's a big one.
This is huge.
If you think about, just think about everything. It's the last year of the Pac-12.
It's the Pac-12.
It's the championship for the Pac-12. It's a rivalry game with revenge on the Ducks' mind, right? It's for the Heisman, probably.
Mm-hmm. Although I think Penix may have already eliminated himself.
But if he has a big game, he can get right back in
Right back in it.
What else? Oh, and it's for a trip to the college football playoff.
Yeah.
My God. This is awesome.
It's bananas. This is everything you could want. I wish Washington looked better. I wish that they were healthy and that we got two full
don't be
sides.
surprised. Like somebody said on the text line, the Vancouver Ford text line, your dollar goes further at Vancouver Ford. They treat you right before, during, and after the sale. They are a lesson each week. What did they? I forgot. I lost it. Oh, no, they said UW always does seem to play up or play down to their opponents. They are a wild tale of what not to expect.
Sure.
And there is a little bit of that. It's like, write them off at your own risk. I totally get what you're saying about them, but man,
with their O-line,
this could be a barn burner.
If Penix takes the needle, drugs him up real well, and because McMillan's back, and as he gets more comfortable, a healthy Penix, that O-line, and those 3 receivers, if that is healthy, they can beat anyone in the country because that's the best quarterback receiving combo in the country when healthy. I just go to
a variety of proposals.
I truly believe that when it's all said and done, we get he's been dealing with this all year.
Yeah.
Well,
all right.
Since the Oregon game.
Coming up next, it is time for our college football turkey trundle. Here is Schultze.
Now, from the Spirit Mountain Casino Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
First on The Fan, Week 12 of the NFL wrapping up actually right now. We got Monday Night Football on ABC and ESPN between the Bears and the Vikings. Vikings, of course, sans Justin Jefferson. He's still dealing with that hamstring injury. 4 minutes to go in the first. We're still scoreless. Looks like Chicago is driving right now near midfield. Justin Fields has 37 yards passing already, and he's actually carried the ball for 18 yards as well. So you fantasy people that got Fields should be happy, but still scoreless. 4 minutes to go in the first. Of course, earlier today, the Carolina Panthers firing head coach Frank Reich after going 1-10 in his first 11 games. Special teams coordinator Chris Tabor being named the interim. He actually turned around and immediately fired quarterbacks coach Josh McCown and running backs coach Deuce Staley. On to the association. Lots happening around the slate on the NBA, but the Blazers actually in action after losing to Milwaukee. Good news, despite the loss yesterday, they are winning right now. 6 minutes to go in the third quarter. Blazers lead the Indiana Pacers on the road 79-75. Malcolm Brogdon has 19, DeAndre Ayton adding 18. Jeremy Grant, not too shabby as well, 15 points. And elsewhere around the NBA, a couple of other games in progress as we speak. Third quarter, 4 minutes to go. Wizards over the Pistons, 79-70. And the Lakers are losing to the Sixers in Philadelphia, 87-67. And 6 minutes to go in the third there. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Schulte from the Spirit Mountain Casino Sports Desk. Get in the game at Spirit Mountain Casino. Watch and wager on all the pro and college action. Learn more at spiritmountain.com.
Every day, get the NFL headlines delivered straight to you. Follow the Best Football Show with Brian Baldinger on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
So what's your favorite thing?
It's time for Who's Leading the Charge. A look under the hood at the coaches, players, and teams getting it done. Brought to you by Battery Exchange.
Two-player game between Brooke and Dame. James has got some daylight. All he needs is second three-pointer. 10 points now for Dame.
Who's that? Who's that? Second three-pointer.
It wasn't Doris Burke. I don't know.
It kind of sounded a little Dorsey, but
You weren't certain?
I
It's
didn't.
like Doris Burke's evil twin,
I didn't like it.
Loris Burke.
Lillard. How'd he do against the Blazers?
He had 31, if I'm not mistaken. Him and Giannis had 30 plus, and they ushered in the largest comeback of the NBA season so far. Down 26 in the third.
System checks at 14 area locations. Battery Exchange with an X.com.
Hi, this is Scott Trout at Cordell & Cordell. If you're a dad who is facing divorce, there are extra layers of stress that may include stereotypes and assumptions. No two situations are the same. Our legal experience and dedication prepare us for whatever legal challenges we face together. You need a partner you can count on. For more than 30 years, Cordell & Cordell has represented men in divorce.
For matters in Idaho, visit CordellCordell.com. 101 South Capitol Boulevard, Suite 500, Boise, Idaho, 83702.
This year, Staples wants everyone to have a happy Holla deal. That's right, Holla Deal. Staples Holla Deals are amazing savings on hot holiday tech. Great prices on laptops, game systems.
Washington's OC, who said that Washington State had a lot of their signals I don't know if you saw that.
Oh, that's where we're doing this now.
What?
That's the reason why. Grubb's saying they had their signals.
Yeah,
that's why their offense didn't work.
Oh, I don't know if he's saying that. He's just saying. I'll just read you his quote. It's from the Seattle Times. He said, while discussing Saturday's game, Grubb stated matter-of-factly that I know Washington State had gotten some of our calls and some of our signals and things like that, so we're making some adjustments to that this week to make sure that doesn't happen again.
Okay.
We tell the kids, hey, we'll take care of that. You just take care of the play.
Yeah, that doesn't equate to 18 of 33 for 204 yards against a defense that has been trashed all year.
No, I just thought that was interesting that, in this whole day and age of
sign stealing.
Yeah, Jim Harbaugh.
Again, remember, sign stealing, not illegal. Sign stealing the way Michigan did it, very much illegal.
100%.
So
100%. But anyway, he went on to say that basically, if you look at the two previous wins, Washington over Oregon, he said their receivers are just going to have to make tough catches.
Yeah.
I mean, some of this is just like you said, throwing it up to those boys and letting them go get it.
It is their best. It's the thing they have that's better than Oregon's. It's the one thing they have. And I'll look, this is where I'll give Washington some credit, because I just got done saying I can't give a reason from an X's and O standpoint why Washington wins this game. For all the crap that people have given Washington over, all season long, one, their running game has come around, and their running game has bailed their ass out. And their defense, too. Their defense, especially in the second half of games, has been fantastic. And they come up with stops. They came up with some big stops in the Apple Cup, big stops against Oregon State when they needed to. And they held Oregon State to 20 points. They held Washington State to 21. I think they held Utah scoreless, if I'm not mistaken, in the second half. They gave up 28 in the first, came out and blanked them in the second half, came up with a couple big stops against USC. So for all of the Washington can't play defense, it may not look pretty, but it is a timely defense that is making plays, even though they're pretty beat up. So that's where maybe if you're a UW fan and you're holding on to some hope, it's just that this is a gritty team of destiny type stuff. And, if you want to try to play devil's advocate for how you can hang in there with Oregon, as good as Oregon has looked, and they have been absolutely just shelling people, right? In the second half of games, they haven't been fantastic. USC kind of got back into it a little bit.
Fire Will Stein.
I think Oregon State held them to, 10 points in the second half? I mean, they only gave up 31 there. And so, and Oregon State had some opportunities there to drag them into deep water and couldn't make a play and couldn't get off the field on third or fourth down. So I think if you're Arizona State, you can't say anything because they just drilled them. So I think if you are UW, when you put on the tape, you tell your guys, hey, as good as these guys look, and we don't sugarcoat it, they look really good. Just like we did in the first game. I mean, Oregon moved the ball, scored at will, but they came up with enough stops. They did what they've done all year. They came up with stops on third down, came up with a couple stops on fourth down, and they made enough plays on the outside. But there really is only one way UW wins that game, which is what he was talking about, is McMillan, who's back and hopefully getting healthy for them, Polk and Ndunze. You just have to make more plays on the outside than the other side.
Well, and, they were winning a lot of games with a special quarterback. A special quarterback can mask a lot of issues.
I don't think they have a special quarterback right now.
Well, I know. That's what I'm saying. Is like that's where they got away with a lot. Yep. And against Oregon, he's going to have to,
he's got to be the old Michael Penix.
He's just going to have to be special. Okay, so our college football turkey trundle begins with Iowa, Nebraska. I don't know if you saw the two bros in the sweatshirts that
I want one.
Their sweatshirts said punts. They showed up to the game with punts sweatshirts.
I love everything about Iowa football right now, and I'm disappointed that this is ending with the firing of Brian Ferentz at the end of the year.
There is something oddly fascinating about watching those types of games.
I can't look away
because they're so tightly contested. Like they just and then you think, oh well, this is clearly a score, and they'll just be like, no, it's not even remotely a score.
No.
And then it's like this game's clearly going to overtime, and then it's like, oh wait, no, let's just throw a pick, and then almost give them 7 points, like to win the game.
Just follow me on
It's
this.
just and then Iowa throws in like I don't know if you guys saw it, but the final score was 13-10.
Yep.
So it went under. The over under was 25.5. It went under. Unbelievable. So
Cashing checks.
Iowa's over unders. They've had the last 10 times they've had games of an over under at 35 or lower. It's been under every time. 10 for 10. And the over was 25.5, dude.
Yeah.
And it came down to a last-second field goal where freaking Kirk Ferentz put in a guy who had never made a kick.
Never made one, and it worked.
Dude, the Iowa and Nebraska has a role in this too, because they were
awful.
I mean, they were awful. It's like it's kind of fun to watch. I don't really know why. But it's just a comedy of errors and such bad play that you can't take your eyes off of it.
So I did not see the first half, but I tuned in and watched most of the second half.
Oh, I saw here's what I'm saying. The first half, I was watching it early. I'm like, all right, let's check this out. Iowa goes down like clearly. I think they got I think it was a turnover, and they got into the red zone, and you're like, easy 7. First and goal from the 6. Nope. Stuffed, missed field goal. And you're like, oh my God, this is how it goes under.
Yeah, they missed 2 field goals in the first half.
Yeah. And they should have scored. It should have been up 7-0. So they got up 10-0. Nebraska hits a bomb, and then you're like, okay, it's 10-7. It's like, all right, now this thing's going over. Oh no, the only thing you got the rest of the game is 2 damn field goals.
So I tuned in the second half when it was 10-7. And granted, I had a decent wager on the under. So I was sweating.
It was close.
I was sweating a little bit. I was like, oh my God, 17 in the first half. I'm like, I don't like the way this is going. So I tune in, and this is what I got. Punt, field goal, punt, miss field goal, punt, interception, field goal. Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
It's been great. Amazing.
You know what, though?
And I lived and died with every punt. Every single punt.
Yeah, it's fun.
I couldn't get enough.
If you were watching it, though, you had to have been blue balling a little bit when so the Nebraska kid inexplicably throws an interception. It's going to overtime.
Yes.
All you got to do is they're kind of trying to get into field goal range, but not really. So he throws this interception, like right to the dude, like Tony Romo style at midfield.
Yeah.
And the guy runs it, trundles down to about the, I don't know, 20, maybe 30. I don't know. It was pretty close.
37.
So he goes to the 37-yard line. The next play, Iowa runs. The freaking running back almost took that to the house.
Almost. Yeah, he broke off like a 20-yard run.
And had he taken that to the house, it goes over.
I know.
But he goes down, and then they send in the crappy kicker, and he kicks the field goal.
Believe me, when he broke through the line, that was one of those you're like, this is why gambling is the best and
it's
the
fun.
worst. You're just sitting there and you're rooting. You're like, oh my God, don't do this to me. Not now.
Well,
not now. Don't do this.
It's a prime example of why gambling is not about money. It is about the action.
The action.
And the action is so freaking fun. Agonizing, but fun.
Yes.
Mike Riley's still the last to take Nebraska to a bowl game. There's a fun fact for you.
Oh, yeah. The Matt Rule thing, not off to a rousing start, 5-7.
And it'll take him some time, but I saw where someone said this, and I thought it was an interesting point. And you kind of chuckle, but Frank Solich might have been Nick Saban, and we didn't know it.
Frank Solich, I believe.
They ran that guy out of there, and he was at Ohio forever.
I don't know if he's still there, but he went and had some success. But he was fired, and they brought in Bo Pelini. And Solich was fine at Nebraska. He was not bad. But as much as Bo Pelini was an ass, Bo Pelini never won less than 9 games at Nebraska. Never.
But I think Frank Solich was better.
Yeah, Frank Solich was really good. He lived off some of the Osborne stuff, but Solich had a good record at Nebraska.
Dude, Frank Solich went 58-19. He went 12-1, 10-2, 11-2. He had a 7-7 year, rebounded 9-3, and they fired his ass.
Fired him. And then Bo Pelini, I think had, I don't know if he ever won 11 games. I think it was always 9 or 10, but they just, they would win 9 or 10 games, but they kept getting drilled by Michigan and Ohio State and Wisconsin. They would lose the 3 games every year against the better teams.
So Pelini went 9-4, 10-4, 9-4, 9-3, fired.
Isn't that crazy? Like that got you fired?
Yeah, they hated it.
Yeah. And now, look at where you're at between Riley and Frost and
yeah,
Matt
but
Rule.
you know what? It's so weird because we thought that Scott Frost hire was a good hire.
Everyone did.
Yeah. It's like, wow, there you go. They got it right.
And everyone said the Matt Rule hire was good too. So
I think it is.
It just goes to show you, man, like you can be a good coach and it doesn't work out at every place. Turns out that winning games in college and building a program is really damn hard.
So Frank Solich was Nick Saban, and we just didn't know it.
I think he's somewhere like he just is laughing every time he watches because he was a long time Nebraska guy under Osborne.
Yeah,
he just sits back and just laughs every time he watches what that program has turned into. He's like, "Hey, fire my ass, did you? Enjoy this."
All right, we'll wrap up the college football turkey trundle next on the Fan.
It's time for a Ducks Report, the inside story on Oregon athletics, brought to you by Mods PDX. The future of building is here.
Waiting for the snap, got it, and back to throw. Pressure comes, Beebs. Send the house. Rolling right to throw. Looking downfield, he's got him. Franklin, he's gonna score! Touchdown! Troy Franklin!
Yeah, Ducks cruise in the Civil War.
There you go.
31-7.
Yeah, it never really felt competitive. They had it 14-7. You thought maybe, and then there was a minute left on the clock. Oregon went down and scored, and
like 3 plays.
Yeah, it was pretty much over right then and there.
Mods PDX, the future of building is here.
What's your opinion?
showing the Michigan State game at Autzen before the Civil War?
Yeah.
I liked that.
I didn't.
These rivalry games, they're funny. The Virginia Tech game, I don't know if you saw this, and I don't even know who the hell won. But after the game, I think it was at UVA, and the Virginia Tech coaches and players were out on the field way after everybody's gone home.
Yeah.
And they turned on the sprinklers.
No.
They were out there taking pictures.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, these rivalry games, man.
It's kind of a little, little
a little
FU.
how's your father? Hey, get out of here.
Yeah. Tech blew them out. It was like 55-17.
All right.
Pasted them.
Didn't watch.
Yeah, I can't say I
Missed
watched
that one.
Can't say I watched any of Virginia Tech. In fact, I didn't watch a lot of ACC football because I didn't see Wake Forest and Syracuse either.
What did you think of Michigan and what they did to Ohio State? I thought Michigan looked pretty damn good, man.
So did Ohio State. I thought it was a hell of a football game.
Good football game.
That's
Two
one of the
good teams.
That's one of those where like UW fan is pissed because like they're like, hey, we beat Oregon and now we got to play them again. Whereas Michigan, the two best teams in the Big Ten are right there. Like, I love how now I will get Ryan Day has lost 3 games in a row to Michigan State or to Michigan. Dude, Ohio State, dude, you play that game 10 times. That's 5-5.
I agree.
I mean, Ohio State was right there.
Yeah, they should play again.
They should play again, but they don't have to. And Ohio State's out. They have no chance of making the playoff when that easily could go the other way in a rematch, much like Oregon, right? You know, you lose by whatever it was, 3 points, and now you get another crack at them. So I don't understand this whole notion that Ohio State has somehow fallen off or this and that. I just thought I really enjoyed that game. It felt like 2 of the best teams in the country throwing haymakers back and forth at one another. And they got some pressure on McCord, and he threw a bad ball. And then that's a hell of an interception that Michigan made to seal that. 'Cause I thought Ohio State was going to go down and score. I really did.
I thought Harrison was going to make that
Yeah,
play.
me too.
But, it's funny watching that. There's just a theme there. All weekend, it seemed like. Started on Friday with Tosh Lapoy dialing up blitzes and getting after DJ. And when you sit back, and there was another game where might have been an NFL game yesterday. Back, I can't remember all these games kind of blur together, but good things happen when you absolutely send the house at the quarterback. Good things happen.
Sure.
And that's what they did to McCord.
Yeah.
And then there were other games where you watch them sit back and, they don't bring the pressure and all of a sudden
get picked apart.
Yes.
I'm a believer in that too, that when you get down to the stretch, now you get down to the final possession.
You gotta be
I
aggressive.
do like being aggressive. Now, sometimes when it's 3rd and 12 and you run a zero blitz, and that's a bit much. But I'm with you. I love the fact that they weren't just going to sit back and let McCord stand there and throw the ball to his uber talented receivers. And yeah, I'm with you. I love when
good things happen.
Good things happen when you bring pressure.
And Lapoy did it over and over against Uiagalelei.
Yeah. Well, and some of that
things happen.
And some of that too when Oregon State's down 2.5 offensive linemen, that's a much bigger deal. The strength of that team all year has been that O-line. And when you're down your entire left side and then one of the backups has been in and out, isn't playing at 100%, they just weren't equipped to deal with what Oregon had going up front. And I think they ran the ball for, 40, 50 yards, something like that?
Like 57. It was nothing.
When you can't run the ball in Oregon State and that's what you hang your hat on, it's a rough go.
Okay, Baja Blast has new meaning. Next on The Fan.
whips the head around and like uses it like a battering ram. That thing is terrifying. Those big ass horns on there, that thing will stomp your ass to death. You do against a giraffe.
Think they ever choke?
Yes, I bet they do.
You know,
I don't think so. Have you seen this? Well, they eat nothing but leaves, and their throats are enormous. What would it choke on? It eats like.
Well, I just mean, like it's a long way down there. It's like something gets
wrong pipe, pipe sort of thing.
Like, God, I don't know. It's like 3/4 of the way in there. How do you get that out?
Actually, Dr. Google says when they go down to the ground, giraffes can choke on their own saliva. So I think that long neck has something to do with that right there.
So you are right. Yeah, the neck.
It's the neck.
Damn.
Boy, I'll tell you what. Like, if I ever meet the Allfather or whatever alien, created, I've got some questions.
Do you mean God?
Whatever your version of that is. I prefer Odin, but
Mine's Dan Lanning.
Oh, there you go.
Boom.
Maybe we can ask him. I've got questions. Like, if you believe like someone was up there like making stuff like in a easy bake oven, like the giraffe, like what? The hell did you come up with that?
I know, right?
Like
you just look at things and go, what?
Yeah, huh? Like that's what you came up with? You just sitting around? How many mushrooms were you on when you cooked up the giraffe?
Well, it's like Dolly Parton. Did you see that halftime show?
No, I didn't see the Dolly halftime show. No.
Oh, dude.
She was doing because she did the rock star thing, right?
It.
Well,
because she put out a new album of like rock songs.
Yeah, but she didn't play any of that. She played. She was in a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader outfit.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did it look pretty good?
Yeah, she looks good.
She's like 80, right?
She's in her mid-70s.
77. Oh, I see it right here.
And she...
Hey, look at that. I'm looking right here.
She sang... It was a really weird set. She sang 9 to 5.
Okay. That's like her... I would assume that's like her biggest hit.
I think Jolene. And then she sang Queen, We Will Rock You.
Huh.
And then she left. And she didn't really move. Like, she can't... She had to...
Is it possible that everything was being held so tight in? Like the...
Yeah, maybe.
It was like Spanx, but made of like cast iron that she couldn't move?
Well, she was having some balance issues. Like, she was holding on to the side of the... They gave her a railing to hold on to. It was kind of... It was odd.
Boy, I'll tell you what. For 77?
Yeah, she looks great.
That's what she's bringing to the table?
Yeah. You could almost say hot, but then you go, well...
She's hot.
Well,
for 77?
Well, okay, but see, you just qualified it there. I'm just saying, is she hot? No, she's not hot. She looks way too plastic, but she looks as good as any 77-year-old is ever going to look.
Yes.
You're not going to look any better than that.
No. I will... I'm going to put this qualifier because I love Dolly, and given the opportunity, I'd sign up for that.
Well, who wouldn't?
Yeah.
Come on, you tell me you get to...
Yeah. She looks amazing. I am guessing that when things are undone, there's a lot of like the floodgates open.
Sagging.
I'm guessing
like
that
natural.
I'm guessing that a lot of stuff is held together, and upon release,
Spanx.
the waters it comes flooding out. It looks entirely
I don't know,
different.
she looked pretty tight up there.
Again, I'm just guessing that everything is working overtime. They're working 9 to 5 to hold all that together, which is why she didn't move. Like, I'm watching the video here. You're right, she's not moving at all because I don't think she can. I think she is in a full body, like, neoprene flesh-colored suit that is 3 sizes too small, and it looks amazing.
I'm also really skeptical of the performance in a vocal sense. I couldn't tell, but it seemed like
it's all lip sync.
Yeah, it seemed like she was lip syncing, or it was at least auto-tuned to the point of like that's not even.
It is I believe it is commonly known that all of those halftime shows are one of two things: either straight lip synced, or at the bare minimum, it's a backing track, and then they'll sing along to it. Sometimes. No one sings live.
Yeah, what I've heard is they'll try to record it. It's not like their album, it's not that being played over the speakers.
They record a performance.
But yeah, they will record it beforehand in a way that they can actually hear it and then lip sync to that, because it is so hard. I mean, as a singer, trying to get a monitor in front of you, and even with the IFBs in your ears, sometimes, like if it's a big enough room, you get screwed up that way. It is impossible to hear yourself being reflected off a stadium that contains 60,000 people. You just can't do that live.
And most of those too are even with even the national anthem those aren't live. They're like Whitney Houston, like
yeah,
that,
hers was recorded. Yeah.
backing track vocals. Almost all of them are helped.
If it's a cappella, they can do it.
Sure.
Just live. But that's when the instruments can. You really start to not be able to hear everything. So.
We'll do it live.
I would rather that. I as a musician, I want screw ups and all. I want to see what these people can actually do, not make it as perfect can be.
I agree with that.
We all know what perfect sounds like.
Yeah.
I want to hear you.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
I just think most don't.
They just don't want to put themselves out. Well, she's 77. I mean,
Well, then, and my buddy that does the Metallica stuff, he says all the time that because he was involved in the Eminem Snoop Dogg one. He's been involved in a couple of those, and he just says that the task of putting that stage together and removing it and having the sound system be able to it's just not feasible. You can't do it in the amount of time and have the equipment and have everything set up, and you can't risk in that moment having something not work. So
they're too big.
Yeah,
those shows are too.
Yes, it's too big with not enough time, and you can't risk something going wrong. So you end up with, a backing track, and then if something does go wrong in your mic or it doesn't sound good or the monitor goes out or whatever, you still have the track.
Dolly did her thing, and it was wonderful. I was watching it with my kid. I had to teach him a little bit about Dolly Parton. He didn't. I mean, he knew who she was, but
yeah,
Dolly is hot old lady.
Dolly is greatness.
Well, she is, and I kept saying that. I was like, man, she is one of one. Like, she is one of the greatest women of all time. Period.
Yes.
Period.
Yes.
And
especially,
and he was like, what? I'm like, dude, start reading now. Get on your phone. She is a badass.
And especially in an era where women weren't taken seriously. She grew up and if you've heard like her childhood, I mean, she grew up with nothing. I mean, hill people. She calls it mountain people. Sorry. The mountain people. Like, they came from nothing. And in an era where women were never taken seriously, and she fought hard for that. I mean, she was one of the first true superstars. Wrote her own music, wrote music for a bunch of other people. I mean, yeah, Dolly is universally loved in greatness.
All right, coming up next, Baja Blast. I know I teased this before, but we're going to get to it next. It has a new meaning. It is 6:15 on the Fan.
The home of Dirt and Spray.
I'm Dirt. I hate to tell you this, there is an unwritten rule that the closer you park, the quicker you need to exit. It is the unwritten rule of Costco. Everybody knows this.
Until I leave the spot. I'm going to take as long as I want in the spot. What if I got a hot dog on the way out of Costco? I want to eat my hot dog. I'm not driving and eating the hot dog.
Look, we know
that's what a
you
hot
can
dog is
put
for.
a hot dog down in 30 seconds. Yeah, don't act like you can't eat a hot dog. You can't deep throat a hot dog.
Dirt and Spray. Weekdays 6 to 9 a.m. on 1080 The Fan.
Now, here's a quick look at Portland traffic.
For the Pop Murphy's Traffic Center, once again, northbound 5, very slow from downtown Portland up to the Interstate Bridge. Sunset Highway looking better and better as you make your final approach into downtown Portland. That's traffic.
Papa Murphy's. Change the way you pizza.
If you've been arrested for a DUI, call the Reynolds Defense Firm. This is McDaniel Reynolds with the Reynolds Defense Firm, and we
halftime shows? Because someone was asking, does that mean every halftime show and performance is lip synced? And the answer technically is yes.
Like at some point,
No, the
a long
NFL
time ago, yeah.
The NFL insists on it. You are not allowed to go up there without a backing track. So the NFL says they cannot risk something going wrong, and you only have 13 minutes to do the show, and they're not willing to risk it. So everyone from the Red Hot Chili Peppers to the Who to Rihanna, what they will say is that you can have a live mic if the lead singer wants, and you are encouraged to sing along as much or as little to the track as you would like. But they insist on everyone recording their part during rehearsal, and then they will play that. And if you would like to sing over it, you can. If you don't, you don't have to. But it is always there. And the instruments are not plugged in as well. In fact, there was a fun little bit here in the it was 2015, the Chili Peppers didn't plug in any of their instruments. And people were like, what the hell? So the Chili Peppers were told by the NFL, Kiedis can sing along, he can sing live to the track. Your instruments have to be dead. Like we're not doing it. And so the Chili Peppers were like, cool, we're not going to plug anything in. Like, we'll just make you look like fools.
Here's the question. Isn't it better if the Chili Peppers aren't plugged in?
You're not a Chili Peppers fan?
No.
What? Oh,
well, we've covered this. You're newer to our broadcast.
I'm a newbie, sorry.
This goes back to a conversation we had about the band or artist that you know is good. You know they're good, but you can't stand them.
Yeah,
and mine are Rush and Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah. And I can see that's not everyone's cup. Mine's U2.
And again, I hate it when people say, "Oh, that band sucked." No, they don't suck. They may not be your cup of tea, or you don't jive with them, you don't get them. That's fine. It's the band that you know is good, but you can't stand them.
Yeah, that's Bruce Springsteen for me. I get it. We all have one.
Yeah, Bruce. Okay.
Yeah,
we all have that.
Yeah, mine's U2.
Yeah.
I don't.
You too.
I just don't.
I didn't know singing like this was some sort of talent, but it is. Yeah. Hey, everybody, you better watch out. God, just get the hell off my hair, please, Bruce Springsteen.
Ooh, see, now you're gonna piss. Yeah, I tell you, the Bruce. What do they call the Bruce Springsteen fans?
I don't know what they.
The Bruceys.
I don't know what they are.
They'll come after you.
Yeah, Vancouver Ford text line, Bruce for me too. See, thank you.
I'm surprised, Schultz. I would have thought that you would like Bruce. It seems like be something that would be up your alley.
It's no, like you go with that and then Bob Dylan. It's just the guys that can maybe play an instrument, but they can't sing for S, but they're still lauded as a great vocalist, Bruce and Bob Dylan. It's like Bob Dylan, same thing. And then the bird and the sea, but I'm the greatest singer of all time, even though I'm not actually singing.
Have you heard the Bruce Springsteen isolated vocals at all?
No, is it good or bad?
Well, you have. I was talking to Schultz. You have because we played it on the air.
But I don't remember if it was good or bad.
We did a segment on it. He's way better than you think.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You know what? Then I will.
And he's got at the end of his. If you can maybe pull it up, they're online. Most of them are on YouTube.
I remember we did it and we played a bunch of them, and I remember some being good, some being bad.
And his are surprisingly good because I tend to agree with Schultz on this one.
Oh man,
I love him. I think he's great, and I love his music. But I don't. The Red Hot Chili Peppers make me want to vomit. And the second they come on, I want to turn the channel. Bruce does not do that for me. But look, let's not talk about Bruce like he's freaking Whitney Houston, okay? The male Whitney Houston. He's just not.
No, but he's arguably
he's great.
He's arguably the most what would you say? Impactful male solo artist.
Yes. No one's arguing that. Oh, he's huge.
You're right.
Find me two other people that have had the impact, the social. I don't know. I guess
like solo artists. You're right. I can't. Yeah. That list is pretty short.
But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about his voice. We're talking about his singing ability. And it's not that great. It's just not. That's not his strength.
But there's a lot of I would make the argument that a lot of rock and roll people, again, of my favorite bands. So if we're going down, Metallica, Foo Fighters, Pearl Jam, Social Distortion, Soundgarden, Chris Cornell. The only one that I would say of those, and those are some of the biggest rock bands of the last, ever. I'd say the only one that really has a good voice would be Chris Cornell. Like Chris Cornell has a amazing voice, but Dave Grohl can't sing very well. James Hetfield certainly doesn't sing very well. Eddie Vedder sings like Eddie Vedder, but let's not act like is anything.
Rocker just sounds like this.
Yeah. Like there's only so many Freddie Mercurys and
that's true.
And Chris Cornells of the world, but
still, it's okay to say it. Like when a guy isn't. I mean, nobody's comparing him to Freddie Mercury. You're just saying he's not. That's like he's not known for his vocal abilities. He's known for his shows and his music and his writing.
He writes his own stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that's what he's known for, and he's Mr. Americana, and he's a cool dude.
Yeah, the other one that someone brought up that it's kind of in that same category that I would say are the two biggest. Well, I'll go through. I'll say like Billy Joel, Paul Simon, Bruce Springsteen are probably the three biggest singer-songwriter rock guys over the last 50 years. And again, none of them necessarily
Bob
great.
Dylan.
Yeah, well, I put Bob maybe a little bit before that. But yeah, same thing. None of them with great voices.
You take Billy Joel right off that list, you MFer.
Billy doesn't. Billy, you know who hates Billy's voice?
Who?
Billy Joel.
Billy hates his own voice.
If you've ever listened, Billy will talk about, I love watching those, what do they call them? He does like master classes at universities. And Billy will tell you like, okay, when I was doing this song, I was trying to do it. He does different styles. He's like, well, I was ripping off the Righteous Brothers. And it's really cool to listen to him because he's like, I wanted to do like that.
Me too, Billy.
Yeah, he's like, I wanted to do the big, like, you've lost that loving feeling. And he'll be like, this is what I was doing. Or when he'll be like, I want to do a Western song. And he plays around with his voice and he says it all the time. He's like, I rip off styles because I get bored. He goes, I don't think I have a good voice. So I play around with it. So even Billy doesn't like his own voice. Taylor Swift is the biggest thing going in music right now. She doesn't have a great voice. She's not a great singer. Yeah. In fact, early in her career, she was killed because she was viewed as someone that couldn't sing. Last time I checked, biggest artist in the world. So it's not always about necessarily having a Whitney Houston-like voice. Can you write your own stuff? Can you perform?
Yeah, I think that's fair. It's just Bruce is not, he's not that guy, buddy. Yeah. He's just but he does have. Did you find it yet? We've been stalling.
I'm trying. No, I'm trying. It's
so at the end of the interesting thing about Bruce, and I remember this from our segment we did on this. We played a lot of these isolated vocals. It's very interesting to listen to.
Yeah, I remember when we were doing those.
And he has this little, and you can't hear it on the final works, but he's got this little. What would be the word? It's like...
I don't know.
Well, we just have to play it and you'll hear it. But he's got this little twinge at the end of all of his lyrics that you can't really hear when the music is laid out.
Little Bruce... little grunts?
Not those. Like little... I'm not even going to try it. Never mind. We'll pull it up. Surely Schulte can Google.
Just found it.
Okay, good.
Yeah, because I remember us doing these, and I just don't, I mean, it was so long. I just don't remember what Bruce sounded like. But I remember some being like, Britney Spears were like
terrible.
Just awful.
She's terrible.
They had some Mariah Carey ones that were just cringe.
The Britney one's still in the system here.
They were so bad.
Well, Mariah can sing, but I think
not
they
anymore.
caught her on a...
Well, and she's done.
Right, but they caught her...
Yeah.
Like she used... I mean,
she used to.
You want to talk about a great singer.
Great
she
pipes.
is a great singer.
But now her voice is all blown out, and she can't sing anymore.
Are we... what are we doing?
I don't
know.
Do you want the Britney one? I got that right here.
No.
We wanted the Bruce one.
Well, I'm getting the Bruce one, but you mentioned
Focus!
Britney. I got that ready.
Britney or Bruce?
Britney. Bruce is going in the system as we speak.
Oh. Well, that's all you needed to say. Jesus. All right, well, maybe we'll play when we come. I'm trying to talk about the Baja Blast.
We can't get to it. We were talking about the boss and his
You're
blast.
making me uncomfortable.
If you ever want something funny, look up Ben Stiller doing Bruce Springsteen counting. It's one of the greatest minute sketches you'll ever watch in your entire life. It's Ben Stiller dressed up as Bruce Springsteen. He looks exactly like him, and he just does the Sesame Street count. And it makes me laugh every time.
Wow. All right, we'll get Bruce in. You'll hear his isolated vocals coming up next. And, hey, for the third time, ITs, the Baja Blast has a new meaning.
We'll see.
Here's Schulte.
Now, from the Spirit Mountain Casino Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
This update brought to you by Vulcan Design and Construction. Check out their award-winning outdoor living designs or schedule your free design consultation at vulcandc.com. First on The Fan, Monday Night Football happening right now to wrap up Week 12 of NFL action. Just about to go to halftime, and the Bears still lead the Vikings 3-0. Looks like Minnesota has a long third down at the Chicago 27, assuming they're going to try and hit a field goal if they do not get that first down. So, Bears lead that 3-0. No Justin Jefferson for the Vikings, about to go to halftime in Minnesota. Over on the other side of the sports landscape in the association, down in Indianapolis, it looks like the Blazers are leading Indiana 111-106. Just about a minute to go in the fourth quarter. We'll see if they can hold on. DeAndre Ayton, 22 points, but Jeremy Grant actually jumping ahead, leading all scorers now with 34. Malcolm Brogdon also has 21 for your Blazers. In college football, Oregon's Jackson Powers Johnson being named the Pac-12 Offensive Lineman of the Week. Also, O-Coordinator Will Stein being named one of 5 finalists for the Broyles Award. That's given to the top assistant in all of college football. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Schulte from the Spirit Mountain Casino Sports Desk. Get in the game at Spirit Mountain Casino. Watch and wager on all the pro and college action. Learn more at spiritmountain.com.
Do it every morning. Dirt and Spray. Weekdays 6 to 9 a.m. on Portland's Sports Leader. 1080 The Fan.
Portland Perks. Right now, the Campbell course is offering 50% off a full round of golf for children, adults, and senior citizens. Home to the first tee of Greater Portland. The mission of the Campbell course is to provide character building and life skill lessons through golf. Only available on PortlandPerks.com.
Are you tired of living with chronic pain? Look no further than Multnomah Medical Clinic, your trusted partner in pain management.
I'm Glenn Wilson, and I have been refereeing for over 20 years. Recently, my calf muscle pain was holding me back. That's when I discovered Multnomah Medical Clinic. They have been incredible. After my treatment, my calf pain has gone away. It's great to be doing what I love again.
Call us today to schedule a free consultation or visit us online at multnomahmedical.com.
Jim Gaffigan here with some more Straight Talk. Now you can get a Walmart Plus membership, plus not pay for it, because it's included with Straight Talk wireless plans. You get free delivery with Walmart Plus a Paramount Plus subscription included. Plus, you pay less for gas. That's a lot of pluses.
Only Straight Talk gives you unlimited 5G data and Walmart Plus included on select plans for free.
Straight Talk Wireless, available at Walmart.
Requires service on Gold or Platinum Unlimited. One offer per eligible account. Paramount Plus Essential Plan only. Separate registration required. Additional terms apply.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys,
wasn't getting the information I needed.
No one did.
I didn't even understand. Okay,
we were stretching. We were looking. We're like, what's happening?
Okay, what was I gonna? Oh, yeah, Bruce Spring. I don't know why we're talking about this, but we're talking about isolated vocals. Oh, we're talking about Dolly Parton.
Yeah.
You know,
Their Godzilla spanks, and then Dolly singing or not singing that got into lip syncing, and then here we are.
So you want to hear Bruce? Oh, and then something came up about the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and I can't stand them. And then Schulte can't stand Bruce Springsteen, and so here is Bruce Springsteen isolated vocals, because Schulte, being a crooner himself,
doesn't think Bruce is necessarily a great singer.
Right. Here's what it sounds like isolated.
In the day we sweated out on the streets of a runaway American dream. At night we ride to mansions of glory in suicide machines. Sprung from cages on Highway 9, chrome wheel, fuel injected and stepping out over the line. Oh, baby, this town rips the bones from your back. It's a death trap. It's a suicide rap. We gotta get out while we're young. 'Cause tramps like us, baby, we were born to run.
That's great.
Yeah, I'm wrong.
But I do hear the little he's got a little Michael in him.
Yeah,
I wonder
at
if that's
the
like a
end.
breathing thing
Yeah,
to
I
get
don't
the
know.
next, the next breath to go. But dude,
That's pretty good.
for a rocker and a live show, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's better than you think.
Yes.
Bruce.
Yes.
The spruce
Now,
Bruce.
we also have more isolated vocals of Bruce Springsteen. This from Sesame Street.
Hey kids, it's time for counting with Bruce Springsteen.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, yeah! All right. What did I get up to?
Makes me laugh every damn time. God bless Bruce
What I get up
Springsteen.
24, I believe.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, like that's impressive. And Bruce was probably 60 when he was doing that. Sounds freaking great. Better than probably most.
Yeah, so you're eating your words over there, Schulte?
Hearing his isolated vocals, I will take him off the list, but Bob Dylan ain't leaving that list. No freaking
Do they have
way.
Bob Dylan isolated vocals out there?
don't think you
or were
need
you
it.
going to punch me in the face if I asked
I can grab it. No, I can go grab it. I'm just saying I don't think we need
I
to
don't
hear
know
him
if they're
isolated.
there. I saw him, I don't know if it was at the Roseland or the Crystal a number of years ago, and I love Bob Dylan. I grew up listening to Bob Dylan. I've never been more angry at a concert, more disappointed at a concert, and you couldn't pay me to go back and watch Bob Dylan. Oh my God. I would rather go see I'd rather go see like a battle of the band sort of thing and someone that cares rather than what Bob was doing.
They've been saying about him for years.
Yeah.
He just kind of mails it in. And
Well, he didn't say a word to anyone. He just stood up there, didn't move in his weird like mariachi outfit, sang like no songs that anyone had basically heard of.
No Rolling Stone, no Lay Lady Lay. Like, if I went to a Bob Dylan show and heard Lay Lady Lay, I'd be down.
And he just, and you're like, what?
That's him.
And then like it was just over, like like there was no interaction, no. It was just then he like walked off the stage, and we're like, is it done? And then the house lights came up. We're like, what the hell was that? It is the most baffling thing I've ever seen. I want my money. I want my money back, Bob.
A former Los Angeles area Taco Bell employee is suing the company and a franchise owner after she claims a Christmas party at the fast food restaurant descended into a drunken mess that included open sex.
Right.
Whoa. Is it a fast food restaurant?
Whoa. Who's complaining about a party that ends up with that?
In the suit, she alleges that her supervisor invited her to a party on December 18th of 2022 at the San Pedro Taco Bell at which she worked. She was encouraged to bring food for a potluck-style buffet.
So you don't eat the crunchy tacos?
Apparently not. Her contribution was a bowl of guacamole. So far, very wholesome.
It is very wholesome at that point.
Once she arrived, she discovered that her supervisor covered the windows of the restaurant with wrapping paper and also covered the cameras for the lobby and the inside of the restaurant.
That, by the way, I wish I showed up at our company party and they had covered all the windows and cameras. I'd be like, I don't know what's about to happen, but I'm in.
She claims her supervisors provided alcohol to staffers, several of whom were overserved. Around midnight, she stepped outside for a short time. She walked back into the restaurant and saw a coworker having sex with his wife in front of everyone at the party. The coworker's wife was also kissing her female manager and another female coworker at the same time.
All right, heat it up. Let's go.
So this is turning into like a swingers club.
I'm just saying, where's the problem with any of this? I'm not. Who's the Karen reporting this?
Yeah, she says she was shocked, disgusted, and outraged.
Oh, for heaven's sakes!
And
Then turn around and leave.
You don't have to stay.
She alleges that she first ran out of the restaurant, but then went back inside to retrieve her guacamole bowl, only to find that her manager and the other coworkers involved were in the. It escalates. It says only to find that her manager and the other coworker involved in the sexual encounter were vomiting.
Oh.
One threw up in the trash while the other vomited in her guacamole bowl.
That's not good.
So she says she.
It's the first thing that That's the first one that I'll give her. That's a little like, wow.
They're so drunk. They're trying to get it on, and then they just can't.
I would just like it stated for the record that anyone out there having an office party and would like me to attend, just give me the invite because this is fantastic. Let's go.
She says she reported the incident to Taco Bell Human Resources and
really?
the restaurant group.
Yeah, now it's really this is where we're at. Is we're just snitching on people. We're just snitching on people trying to have a good time at a holiday party with the wife and the boss and the boss's girlfriend and some guacamole. Really, this is where mind your own damn business, people. Mind your own business.
The manager and the other coworkers involved in the sexual encounter were fired.
Yeah, it's disappointing.
Not surprised.
Yeah, you can't do that.
I think it's worth it, though. Your job at a fast food restaurant, you got fired for having an orgy. That's a story.
Well, they only got fired because Karen there decided to rat everybody out. Again, a wiser man than me once said, we're put on this earth not to be a goalie. We're here to assist or get out of the way. Now, you don't like what's going on? Simply leave the party. You know what? Maybe come back and get the guacamole bowl another time. It's not going anywhere. No one's stealing your guac bowl. It's going to be there. It's not your cup of tea.
He'll clean it out for you after he puked in it.
Exactly. They got an industrial strength washing machine there. By the way, I got to ask my kids because both of my kids worked at Taco Bell. Kids, what sort of office parties were you guys going to?
So that is the new meaning of Baja Blast.
Yes, it is.
Trying to make out by puking.
Thank you so much. What would you do if you rolled into the company holiday party and there was like, I don't know, well, like Kim and her boyfriend are doing it.
I would post up and watch that thing Spy versus Spy style.
And everybody's just kind of hanging around, and then all of a sudden the promotions gal jumps in, and
I think there'd be a lot of people like. I just think picture like
Ryan Cooley's over there watching football.
Yeah, I think that's more of a that's like a Cal Norton Jr. where you just look at it and you kind of drop one of these. All right.
Usually you got to pay to get into these kinds of clubs. Yeah. So I would just sit there and watch. Yeah, no, this is a free show, baby.
Now, is there chips and guac still? Because if so, again, I know what I'm doing. I'm, again, post up and put your feet up on something, you know. Watch the hell out of that.
I can't do sex and food together. That just strippers and food. Like if I'm gonna go have a steak, I'm not gonna watch the strippers. It's not that I can't do the food and the sex together. That's just weird to me.
It's on you.
Clearly, yes, I'm the weird one.
Never had some delicious steak bites.
No.
A nice plate of nachos. I'm good to go.
All right, we got to wrap it up next on The Fan.
Seahawks football is on The Fan.
6 DBs in the game. Play fake. Dobbs being chased by Withers.
Yeah, they had it cooking up there.
I missed that.
Yeah, you miss that?
I didn't know we even had a Christmas party option last year. There we go.
Well, we didn't.
No.
We were just down here. What were we doing?
We were leaving.
Everybody was just kind of hanging out.
Yeah, and then someone was like, hey, they're having...
Oh, that's right. They had their big... Yeah, it was just a normal night for us.
Yeah.
We were done with the show at 7, and there were a bunch of people here in our building still drinking, because that's what they do. And so right outside in our lobby was a hullabaloo because they were checking people in to go upstairs for the big hot Christmas party.
We just kind of...
And we were like, hey, and they were cool. They were like, just here, go on up, because we're neighbors, you know.
Yeah.
We do it with them. They do it with us. And,
that's how we do it.
We went up there.
Yeah, we mingled.
Got some free drinks.
Yeah, that whole thing up there. There was
the whole scene.
It was a good party.
Like a marketing agency?
It's like a marketing agency. So they were like
it's one of those offices with like ping pong tables and hipster stuff. And
there was a photo booth and a bunch of finger foods. Had a couple bars. It's nice.
Yeah, it was nice.
You run around and you're like, hey, what do you do? I'm like, you just make something up because you don't even belong there. Hey, my name's Francis. Just gotta get up there and
I'm in IT.
Mingle through. Yeah.
You never see the IT guys, right? So you can just say, I'm Josh. I'm in IT. How are you?
No one cares. It's good times. I like a good office Christmas party from time to time. Just not when it's our office.
Best office Christmas party story ever. Somebody at a former place of work that I was at essed their pants during the party and never came back to work at that place again.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Why? Because they got so S-faced that they just, I don't know, they didn't puke, but it came out the other end. They were up, so.
It happens.
But walking around for half an hour
next
your job. Walking around for half an hour next to the boss, smelling poopy.
Oh gosh.
That is it was it was so bad, but I think back on it and it's like,
who's that?
Control yourself.
I'm not gonna tell
Schulte,
you.
was it you?
Was this in radio?
This was in radio.
Is it a name people would know?
No, it is not a name. No, this is not a famous name.
What?
And I'm not just saying that.
Ford
to protect
and
them.
Lutz.
It was like it was a support staffer. It was nobody that's on air for anybody.
My gal's company does a pretty good office Christmas party. They get everyone a room at the hotel where they're at because they know what's going to go down, and they go pretty
Baja Blast.
They go pretty hard. Although, as far as I know, no Baja Blast, but yeah, they it's by far the best setup office Christmas party that I've ever been to. They take it very seriously.
We had a good one back when Aaron Hubert was in charge.
Yeah, well, that's been cut from the budget.
Not so much with Kim Martinez.
And you would think Kim, who likes,
she likes to party.
I think what happens is we just end up going to a bar after work one day. I think that's how it happens.
And she'll give us $5 coupons.
Here's a drink ticket.
Yeah, here's a drink.
He's put
Merry Christmas.
He's put on Ludwig's tab when he's not looking. Like, oh yeah, put it on his over there. Yeah,
he'll just bill Odyssey.
Exactly. It's
somebody's
like
got a corporate
I
card.
will say Kim's good with the corporate card.
She's great.
She'll always throw down the corporate card.
Oh yeah, she has no one has any proof of it, but as
right.
Kim does not have a problem throwing down.
Well, yeah, you're never accountable for anything when you're under the veil of corporate. Corporate secrecy is everything.
Yes,
like that. That's how they don't take accountability for anything. It's great.
Plus, as long as you
keep everything secret. I don't know.
As long as you stay within the boundaries of what your higher ups are doing, you're safe as kittens. And our higher ups, they go hard, so it gives you a lot of wiggle room. I feel pretty confident that we're going to be all right.
All right. Next up here on The Fan is Ducks Roundtable. I want to say our show's back tomorrow, 3 to 7.
It is. Can we not talk about the Vikings and Bears? Because
this game sucks.
Wow.
Every time I look up, one of the quarterbacks is trying to throw a pick six, and the other team doesn't want it.
It has all the low action of an Iowa game, but without any of the intrigue.
All right. I think that's it. Ducks Roundtable next. We're back tomorrow, 3 to 7 on The Fan. Good night.
Red ships of Spain, red ships of Spain.